This is a special presentation brought to you by the Kings of Sport Network. You are now down with the Kings. Hi, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Two-Way Ray. We are back again. Game 5, NBA Finals, and we here on the Kings of Sport Network to do our live watch along. Number 2. So glad you all can join me. We got about 9 people peeking in through Twitter. Thank you guys for at least scrolling by and peeking in. We appreciate you. All right. Gonna wait until some more folks start to come up in here. And one person on Facebook, thank you for joining. All right. I'm gonna try to get some things going. I will be joined momentarily by Brother Nate Milton. I will also be joined later on within the first quarter by Justin Goodrum of Hoopsology. And who knows, there may be even more special guests. And if you're a patron following us and subscribing to us with a paid subscription through patreon.com/the Kings of Sport, you can be joining us. The link has been sent to join me right here online. Just make sure you got a good internet connection, a computer, camera, and a microphone. You should be good to go. All right. All right. I know StreamYard. So we got game 5. Boston is up 3-1, but they suffered a devastating defeat, getting drilled by 38 points in Dallas. So we shall see how they respond, how their young core responds. I think there's been several times that this young core has kind of folded under pressure a little bit. Not this year, but in previous years. We'll see if they learn anything from it. We'll see if Jrue Holiday is able to bring some of that championship pedigree to get them back on track and to close it out at home tonight. So we shall see. I don't believe Brother Chris will be joining us. Once again, he will be shadow fighting his demons. If Boston ends up winning, he's going to be looking like Cuba Gooding Jr. from Boys in the Hood in front of Nia Long. So we just gave that brother his privacy so that he can, deal with the breaking of the tie between the Boston Celtics and his LA Lakers, the breaking of the championship tie on his own time, give him some personal time. So we love you, Chris. We love you, Professor. Hopefully everything's going well with you, brother. So we'll see what happens. Hey, and if you guys want to contribute, you're always welcome to contribute in the chat. Go ahead. Whether it be in the Facebook chat, I see about 4 of you guys. Well, now just back to 1. But if you in Facebook want to go ahead and add something to the conversation that we're bringing, go ahead. Put it in that chat box. Same thing goes for those who hopefully when you join us through Patreon, or not Patreon, but YouTube, and you can go ahead and add what you want in the comments there as well. Let us know. All right, the tip-off has just commenced. Celtics have the ball. So we'll see how they bounce back. Again, if you haven't been following the last couple games, Kristaps Porzingis was able to play the first two, but then he got injured once again. He's been out for, counting tonight, the last 3 games. They did pretty well without him on game 3. Kind of needed him on game 4. So now we'll see. Who knows if he's able, I believe, usually 8 weeks, they say there's a recovery if he doesn't get surgery. They didn't say. And Luka already with a reaching foul across the body of Jaylen Brown, already getting his first foul within the first minute, literally. And that's going to be a key for Dallas, is Luka keeping himself under control, not going back and forth with the referees, and not making ticky-tack fouls. Long 3 by Jaylen Brown, no good. Rebound by Luka. Steal. Celtics ball back again, and the Garden is rocking, guys. The Garden is rocking. Body contact. Oh. And Tatum tried to lean in, get a little bit of contact, get some space as well inside, but he wasn't able to put the ball in the basket. But Jaylen Brown 3-pointer, no good. All right, let's see. Again, if you want to contribute to the broadcast so that we can have more of these live streams, go ahead to patreon.com/the Kings of Sport. Entry fee is just $5, folks. Just $5 a month, guys. $5 a month. We're not asking for any more. $5 a month gets you 300 plus hours of content, ranging from the archives of the Kings of Sport all the way up to now, where you can have not only the flagship Kings of Sport podcast, but also Adventures Initiative, also Spinning Black Fist podcast with myself and Miss Chichi Okafor, and some upcoming projects featuring the youngest in charge himself, Andrew Thompson. So please get on that. If you want to support, if you want to contribute, please go ahead, support us through Patreon, patreon.com/the Kings of Sport. Also, if you want to follow us for free, that's all right as well. Follow us for free on TikTok and X. Both handles are the same, KOS_POD. Boston is up 4-0 right now. And again, I appreciate you guys joining me. Like I said last time, usually I'm more of I come in on the 3rd and 4th quarter guy, because I think that's when the most drama is. Ooh, with the smooth laid by Drew. But yeah, I'm doing this for you guys. I'm doing this for the fam. So appreciate y'all. All right. Go ahead. Present real quick. And we kind of got away with it before, so I think we'll be okay if we go ahead and just show the scoreboard screen for now as well. So stripped away from Kyrie. Fast break. Devin White to Drew. Drew another lay. Drew Holiday already with 4 points. Boston up 6-2. 8 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Fade away, no good for Luca. Rebound. Oh, the thing is tied up. It's going to be a jump ball between Al Horford and Daniel Gafford. Good defense. Good hands by Drew. It pays for. He gets paid for his effort on the offensive end. Here comes the Kyrie sucks chance. And I'm sure that'll be the nicest thing said about Kyrie in this building tonight. Whew. So, guys, let me know. Let me know. Oh, we got one person on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, let me know. Who's going to pull out this game? I believe myself and Chris on I believe was it Saturday? No, it was Friday. That was game 4. We both believe that Boston is going to close it out tonight. What do you guys think? I wish I could put up a poll. Can I put out? Oh, good dish again. Can't go over the back. No foul. No foul. Rebound by Jaylen Brown. 3-point by Horford. Hits it. Dallas calls timeout. All right. Celtics getting off to a good run so far. A good run to start the game. What happened to Robert Parrish's hair? I didn't know he got the Pisha. All right. Let me know. Oh, we got 6. We got 43. Oh, 14 in the 19. Let's go, Facebook. Let's go. If y'all peeking in, 3 people in the YouTube. Again, let me know, guys. If y'all got something to say, if y'all want to be heard, let a brother know. Let a brother know, Oh, man. Crypto is still a thing, huh? Crypto.com is still a thing. All right, I'm going to turn this down so I don't get copyright stricken from my TV. But yeah, it's looking to be a good game. All right, give me something, guys. I don't know what to talk about if I ain't got nothing. Ain't nobody here helping. Oh, that ain't segment fault. My bad. All right. Save that as is. I'm just doing some background stuff real quick, guys. Don't worry about the silence. Is the sound of silence. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I come to talk with you again. Just trying to figure out what to do with dead air, especially if I'm by myself. All by my Oh, you know what? I'm trying to do a thing. Game 5. Mhm. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, also go follow us, man. I know some of you guys watch us on NWA as well. But if you're not watching us on the NWA Nubian Wrestling Advocates podcast, go ahead and check us out. Presented by Post Wrestling. We had a phenomenal episode last night. We came under 6 hours, guys. We actually just over 4 hours. So we're trimming it down little by little. So but yeah, go ahead. Check out Post Wrestling. Oh, 89. Let's go. 29 people checking by on the Facebook. 4 folks here in YouTube. Let's go. Let's keep on having those numbers rise, guys. All right. So, I guess we're going to be talking about basketball. He jumped straight up, though. I mean, of course, dealing with the passings of 2 legends within the last 2 weeks, and Bill Walton and Jerry West, that has really been center of the basketball world aside from the finals going on. 2 legends. Jerry West not only being a legend on the hardwood, but also being a legend in the front office as well. And kind of in the same path, well, not same path, but kind of in a similar fashion, I should say. Bill Walton, not only a legend on the hardwood, but also a legend on the microphone as a tremendous color commentator for NBA broadcasts. So I think we just, I believe, like they said on, I believe, brother from another, Vincent Goodwill from Yahoo Sports put it best, saying we're kind of losing bit by bit of the foundation of the sport, but hopefully it is in great hands with the veterans that are currently in place and the legends that are still with us. So just wish the best for the families of both Bill Walton and Jerry West. 3-pointer, Kyrie. No, go. Found Jaylen Brown. Oh, lay. All right. So, good thing I'm going to go ahead and take this off for now because we got some company, y'all. We're going to go ahead and bring in, first off, the legend himself, the co-founder and lead host of the Kings of Sport, Brother Nate Milton. And alongside him, we'll also bring up our guest for one of our guests for this evening. Fingers crossed, we might have some other special guests joining us. But alongside with the Godfather, we're going to bring up Brother Justin Goodrum, the brother that bestowed upon Nate the opportunity and ability to change his WNBA team. So let's see what Brother Goodrum has to defend himself with. So Brother Nate and Brother Goodrum, we're gonna go ahead and bring you guys. Hey, gentlemen.
It's a celebration, bitches. Ray, I'm disappointed you got the memo before we came on the show tonight. We got to dress up. You got to coordinate, Ray. You got to coordinate.
Man, I thought this was a dress down affair. I did not know this was so formal, brother.
You ain't seen all these commercials with Dwayne Wade and Queen Latifah. This is a fancy affair, Ray.
Well, I guess on Friday.
Yes.
Well, I was about to say, I guess on Friday, since it was a blowout, we didn't have to dress up so formal.
Right. But tonight, Ray, we gonna crown a champion. We gonna be in the VIP section. We gonna be drinking champagne with Mike Breen and Camila Cardosa and Angel Reese, and Chris is gonna be in the corner somewhere crying because the Lakers are now once again behind the Celtics in terms of overall historical titles. But it's a night to celebrate, Ray Williams.
Indeed. I'm sure the streets of Boston will be flowing with champagne this evening. I mean, Boston is looking good. They're up 16-11 right now. Justin Goodrum, it's been a while, brother. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing pretty good. How about you guys? Yeah, I don't like the Mavericks' chances. It's good for my dad. He's from Boston, born and raised, so he's watching this closely. So
he's wicked smart. He's wicked smart,
right?
but Justin, I don't want to start this off on a contentious note, man. Again, shout out to everybody tuning in to the NBA Live Watch. Join up on the Patreon if you'd like to hop in the conversation. $5 gets you in. Ray's posted the link on our Patreon page where you can join us and chop it up with us here as we watch the final game. I'm predicting it. I'm saying it. The final game of the NBA Finals tonight. But you heard Ray thinks he's slick. Ray thinks he's slick, Justin. But much like Kendrick, I don't like to sneak this. If I'm gonna catch a flight, it's gonna be direct Ray Williams. I heard the tone in your voice when you mentioned that Justin allowed me. He was the deciding vote that allowed me to change my WNBA team from the Atlanta Dream to the Chicago Sky, and I felt a hint of animosity, Ray. So, what are you trying to say to the good brother?
I mean, all I'm saying is that if you pick a team, you stick by that team. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I thought that was common knowledge, but it must be something that I'm not used to when people can just switch teams all willy-nilly. But I don't know.
I'm normally traditional. However, look at the Sky so far. I mean, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference.
and as I told Ray, Justin, like I told Ray on the show, I told him on the show, Justin, like in real life, IRL, like the Atlanta Dream, they still my team, Justin. They're the team I root for in real life. But for the purposes of the show, the more entertaining team to talk about is by far the Chicago Sky with Camila Cardosa, Kennedy Carter. Come on, Ray.
Yeah, that is fair.
I mean, they are an interesting team, an interesting bunch.
Ray, Angel Reese assaulted Caitlin Clark on these streets, Ray. Will somebody think of the children?
That's true. You should have seen the comments when we were talking about that. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It's crazy, Justin.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a circus for sure.
Yes, I think because we talked to you, I think right before the conference finals.
Yeah.
So the WNBA season was just getting ready to tip off, or had just tipped off, I think. But what have you made of like the first month of the WNBA? Like not the actual play, because I think the actual play's been really good.
Agreed.
But what have you made of the media and America discovering the W?
I think Ray will be able to relate to this. I know he's a big MMA fan. And when the UFC was rising in popularity, you had a lot of mainstream pundits just hate on it and just say the most insane things when the sport was on the rise. But I think eventually, it's become a part of like the mainstream discourse. You know, people just either you like people fighting in a cage or you don't. Life goes on and it's not this big crisis. I think the difference with the WNBA is that you're dealing with a lot of more sexism, a lot more misogyny, and also in this day and age, just a lot more of just what we're dealing with a culture war. So that sucks. I don't understand, especially with Stephen A. Smith and other people about, I heard this with even Gilbert Arenas' podcast about how the WNBA players need to, capitalize on the momentum. Like how you want them to they don't want to give that answer. They don't want to clarify what they mean by that. So what do they mean by that? They want them just to forfeit games to Caitlin Clark? Like, not just what do they really mean? That's what I think that they're kind of taking the cowardly way out. They're speaking all these code words without just keeping it real. Like, what do you want these players to really do? Because if you actually listen to what they're saying, they've been nothing but complimentary to Caitlin Clark in terms of what the value she brings to the league. But on the court is business as usual. It's a physical league. I mean, it's physical. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, I was telling my co-host. I mean, this is not the Judgment Day trying to take out Caitlin Clark here. I mean, it's not Rhea Ripley coming out of the stands. This is not Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. I mean, this is the W. This is standard practice. So yeah, I think just the discussion has just been terrible. But however, I do think it's good for the league, and I think going through these growing pains, I do think they'll be able to capitalize on this momentum moving forward.
Yeah, the craziest thing to me, Justin, is like you have a lot of people, particularly, and I hate that it's starting to kind of line up in these camps, but you've got a lot of people on the more conservative side of the aisle. You've got a lot of white people, and maybe disappointingly, Justin, you've got a lot of prominent either black male journalists or former black male athletes that seem to be falling on the side of coddling Caitlin for the sake of making this money.
Yeah.
And if you listen to Caitlin talk and what Caitlin wants, Caitlin doesn't want that. Caitlin's a dog. Caitlin wants to go out there and compete. And like she said yesterday, after the foul, the flagrant foul that turned the world upside down, Justin Goodrum, she's just like, yeah, like that's a basketball play. Like, we play hard and it's one play and everybody kind of wants to turn into this thing. And then, like you said, there are people that, and I'm glad Caitlin addressed this last week because I think there are people that use her name that are not basketball fans, that probably aren't even really Caitlin Clark fans, but they see an opportunity to use this young woman as a conduit for, as you said, their racism, their sexism, in some cases, their homophobia. And they use her as the way to kind of get their message across. And it's a lot of people with a lot of clout, like Dave Portnoy. Like Dave Portnoy is, I oftentimes disagree with Dave Portnoy, but over the past weekend, it just reaffirmed my belief that, yes, congratulations on your success with Barstool and all this, but, again, going to Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar said, you can be a bitch even if you got bitches, and to kind of paraphrase that, you can be an idiot even if you're wealthy, even if you're successful, even if you're famous. And so it's like, I hate it. I hate it for Caitlin. I hate it for like the black women of the WNBA who have called all types of thugs and trash and ghetto and all this other stuff, called out their name, and it's by people that do not care. They don't give a damn, Justin, about growing this sport, because if they did, they would have been here.
Yeah, they don't care about the league. I mean, no one reported on the Chicago Sky they were threatened outside of, I think, either a hotel room or practice, something like that. That got no coverage. I guess
the most I saw about that were people like, well, now you don't want to be covered, and it's like that's not what they were talking about.
No, it's ridiculous. But can we be really surprised, hindsight being 2020, because a lot of the player media is becoming a lot more popular. And I think in years past, what would be the main complaint? What would be the main
Caitlin is the best thing since Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart fixed racism. Thank you, emotional white thought. And I'm calling you by your government name. I'm not calling you that pejoratively.
But what would be the criticism of the WNBA? Like they can't dunk, things that don't matter, like move back the 3-point line, make the ball, just all these things that are just rapidly inaccurate. So I'm not exactly surprised that a lot of the discourse is kind of into the circus-like atmosphere nowadays.
So. Speaking of accurate, I think another thing that it's kind of like a chicken and an egg, Justin.
Yeah.
Is the discourse being fueled by the people that don't really care about women's basketball, or is it being fueled by the media, or does one kind of play into the other? Because I've seen stories like there's a story that came out last week, and I don't know the accuracy or the veracity of it, which is like the WNBA is going to lose $50 million this year, and then everybody kind of jumped on that, and it's like, see, like nobody wants to watch these women play. These women are bums. Like the NBA is propping this league up. It's a charity case, and it's like, I do not like. You can acknowledge that the WNBA is in a state much like the NBA 40 years ago, where they are growing and they still got growing pains. They're not where the NBA is today, but you can also acknowledge like the last 3 years, they've seen incremental growth. And now this year they've had an explosion of growth because of Caitlin Clark, because of Angel Reese, because of Cameron Brink, because of this rookie class. But to act like I just don't get it, JG. Like if you say you care about this league and you care about growing the sport, you can't also come back around and say, see, that's why nobody watches you, because you're untalented and you're a bunch of ghetto thugs.
Well, let's look at this from a wrestling perspective, right? When TNA first got their deal with Spike, what time did they come on? A terrible time. Remember all the games where they're on at 10 o'clock on a Saturday. They eventually got that Wednesday night time slot. How many supplemental programs did TNA get? Not that much. I mean, the ratings were all right, but like you didn't have Spike have a full investment within TNA compared to what you have at AEW. TNT's all in. You want Rampage? Here you go. Collision? Here you go. Roads to the top? Here you go. And with the WNBA, they've had a terrible TV partner, right? Up until most recently, they've really improved. So I think that has been to a factor why the league has really suffered, because you don't have a partner that is actually in the interest of growing the league, in my opinion, until recently. I think there's been some huge steps. I think Elle Duncan and Andrea Carter and
Shanae, Ray's favorite.
If people are wondering, like, what's going to be the replacement for Inside the NBA, it's those three. There's your answer. There you go. They can do all the WNBA, NBA coverage. They have the chemistry. They have the swagger. They're not trying to mimic Inside the NBA. They're your next replacements right there.
Yeah, and you can bring Candace Parker in, so she won't be doing Inside the NBA anymore. Like, it's perfect.
There you go.
I think another thing that you just hit on, JG, is something that often gets lost in the conversation, because people talk about how the Women's March Madness tournament had these amazing ratings this past year. And I think, yes, it's because of these players and because of, the South Carolina Gamecocks and Don Staley, what they did all season long. But I think it's also, if you put the games on TV when people can watch them, where people can watch them, and you promote it, people will watch. And I think, that's the kind of thing that gets lost in the shuffle. It's like, yeah, the WNBA numbers haven't been great the past decade, but also where have they been airing? Like, when have you been putting them on? Have you been promoting the games, right? It's like the old saying, you got to spend money to make money. Like, you have to promote. Like there's a reason I had Ray on the street corner this morning, Justin. That's why I'm dressed like a fancy pimp from the 1980s. Maybe I'm like more like the 1940s, like a Great Gatsby kind of era. Like, go make me some money, young Raymond. But no, that's why we had Ray on the corner with one of them spinning signs saying live stream tonight. Because if we just put the stream on and didn't tell anybody, Justin, ain't nobody gonna watch, man.
No.
That old adage, if you play a WNBA game in the woods, will anybody watch? No.
I thought you were going to go, if you build it, they will come.
No.
which is actually like if you build the infrastructure on a television network and you are promoting these games, even if you're not getting 2 million views a game, Justin, eventually you're going to grow the sport.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all about just building the product. And I think that's been even a criticism I've had of even the NBA too, of like, how much money are you really driving into the WNBA with these whole charter flights, right? Like, these are professionals. Like, if you can't afford to fund this league and have, your competitors have charter flights, should you really be funding this league in the first place? I mean, I don't know. For this to be such a big ordeal now, they finally have chartered flights. I think it's pretty ridiculous. And I understand like the pay in terms of the pay infrastructure compared to the NBA. It makes sense. That's a revenue situation. But it's the basic rights for every athlete playing at the highest level. I think they deserve the same that the men get. And just there's certain equal rights there. I just think there's been a lot of actors that have dropped the ball up to this point. So.
Gotcha.
There we go. I'm back.
Well, I do want to touch on something, just a slight transition on something that you
hear me,
brought
right?
up, Justin. Yeah, I hear you. Did you have anything else on the WNBA, Nate? Can you hear us? Justin, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you, Ray.
Oh, okay.
And I heard Nate. Looks like he.
Yeah, he might have to step out. I was having a similar issue last night when we were putting together the Nubian Wrestling Advocates podcast presented by Post Wrestling. every third Sunday.
Watched a little bit of
But
that. Yep.
oh yeah, yeah, and it was less. It was less than 6 hours, Justin. So you'd be able to. It was a, as Nate put it, it was a brisk 4 hours last night, just
Right.
over 4 hours.
You all are speed demons.
Yeah, I know. Once we could get it once we could get it to about 3, people won't know how to act. They'll be like, "Oh,
Right.
you're cutting us short, fellas. You're cutting us short." But I did want to bring up something while Nate is still getting some things together.
Yeah.
You brought up inside the NBA, and we know Charles Barkley, Chuck, has had his things to say about Caitlin Clark as well. But we've also heard that, or he said himself, that he, after next year, no matter what happens with inside the NBA, he is going to be off of television. So one thing I want to ask you is, first off, do you think he's telling the truth?
I don't. I think he said in the past he's driven by money. I mean, he almost took the Live Golf deal. So I think, from what I have heard from different media journalists, they have stated that in terms of his services, it's going to be the biggest bidding war of any sports personality. So I just think if they drop him a big enough check, he'll do it. And I also think there's also the independent route too. I mean, Charles Barkley said it himself. He has like a media company. Shaq has, big time connections. So I have a feeling inside the NBA is going to survive somewhere else, but it might look a little bit different. The question is, will Ernie Johnson come with him? And I don't know. I think that's a huge question mark. I don't know.
Unless, and I think Bomani Jones talked about it. Bomani Jones, friend of the program, who was also a part of the Altcast for TNT during the conference finals. I think he said if Charles decided to, kind of keep the band together, or Shaq or whoever's production company decided to keep the band together, the only way that EJ would probably be down is if they remained based in Atlanta.
Agreed. No, and I don't see why you can't do both either. I mean, you have a lot of different media personalities where they work at multiple networks. So I don't know. The way that this is laid out, I think there's a possibility of inside the NBA still being saved. It just might look different. So
remember when they tried to I guess they still technically are doing it in a roundabout sort of way. But remember when they tried to bring in inside the NBA the next generation a couple years ago, JG, when they brought in D Wade and some of the recently retired players, and it they were good, but it just wasn't
not the same.
There's something special about Charles, Shaq, Kenny, and EJ.
Well, it's just the chemistry, and I think specifically with ESPN, they've really struggled with that, with their just coverage. I mean, I even saw the halftime show was like a minute. Analysis. Like, what are we doing? So I don't know. I just think they have, like I said before, they have their team right there. They're waiting. Just put them up there. I get rid of Stephen A. and Wilbon and just put those three up there just for replacements. But yeah, it's chemistry with just what you have. Some people work and some people don't. I mean, years ago with ESPN, they tried Bill Simmons and Magic Johnson. That didn't work. So it's a chemistry thing.
Well, I do want to ask this: if he doesn't return, do you see someone who is upcoming that could possibly not fill the shoes, but someone who can develop that personality? Because it wasn't overnight for Chuck, and Shaq already kind of had a personality coming from the league, but Charles, it took him some reps in order to kind of develop that personality and also develop that camaraderie. So is there anyone right now that you see is kind of putting together the building blocks right now and who you think would be a decent fit for a post show, if not inside the NBA?
I think Draymond's putting the pieces together. I just don't think he has the sense of humor as Charles Barkley does. Because you could do anything to Charles Barkley. He's cool with it. You could do anything. He's done everything. And I just think if you did the same thing to Draymond, he would get, I don't know, it would be a problem. And I think Shaq,
I also think Draymond's not as likable.
I agree. That's true. But was Charles Barkley that likable when he retired, though, or
That's a
around
fair
that
point.
time?
what
That's a
I'm
fair
saying.
point.
Yeah, but I think just
Ooh.
because Shaq, he gets his feelings hurt very easily, and so does Kenny Smith. But
Yeah.
but they both kind of ride with the show, and I think with Draymond, I just don't know how that would work with him,
Right.
in that mix.
And I know, I think Vincent Goodwill from Yahoo Sports said it eloquently when he said that Chuck had, and I think I mentioned this before or earlier rather, Chuck knows how to kind of be the butt of the joke and kind of be self-deprecating in a way.
Mhm.
And with him being there and kind of exhibiting that he's not taking himself so seriously, then that leads to
Everybody can
an
get it.
EJ, not taking themselves seriously, a Jet not taking themselves serious, Shaq not taking himself serious. But can that be a Draymond thing where Draymond can kind of be laid back and not take himself so seriously and make fun of himself
Yeah.
while also like taking jokes from other people? That's a big question that you kind of mentioned, Justin.
Yeah, and I think another underrated part of this is their production crew. Like
Yeah.
they have a
Mhm.
great sense of humor. Like I'll never forget. I think it's Underdog. Like I
Mhm.
think they're in Golden State. They caught him flirting with just these two random women, and he's just embarrassed. They zoom in on his face, and like they do this whole thing. Like I won't go into, it's a PG show, but let's just say there was some sexual
You're just
overtones.
really trying to keep it PG.
Right. I was shocked. I was just like, man, they're really doing this on this TV show, embarrassing this man on it. You
Right.
could tell he was trying to like spit some game and like trying to set some things up after the show, and they were totally ruining for him. So that's the magic you get. You're not gonna get that on any other network. Like it's
Right.
just the magic of all this, the different components. The staff has the same sense of humor. Like they pulled that prank, I think, for Charles during New Year's Eve, where they're supposed to have a big after party, and then like they didn't have it. Like I think they had a game like close to New Year's Eve or something, and they had, I think this is when Magic was on there, and they were having a party, and then they basically was teasing Charles, hey, we're going to get you into the party. They finally have him come to the party, and then they're all gone. There's like someone sweeping up the trash. Like you're just not going to get that, anywhere else. Even if Draymond's on that show, if you have to have different people running it, unfortunately.
I think, and Ray, throw the score back up, please, so we can keep the fans up to date on what's going on.
Gotcha.
Boston with the lead here in the second quarter. But I think a player that would flourish in a setting like that, I think, but there are two things that would hold him back. Number one, I feel like he's got aspirations that are bigger than being a TV talking head. And two, even though he's like hilarious, I do think he's not willing to make himself the butt of the joke like Charles does so often. Like LeBron would be fascinating on one of these shows, JG.
He would. No, totally agree. I think just his connections and everything. Yeah, I think he would. I think he's gone taking the Kobe route, to be honest, towards the later part of his career, is being honest. Especially if you watch his barbershop show. Like if you ask him a question, he'll tell you what he thinks. Compared to him in this media setting with just reporters after a game. So I think he would be really good. I think honestly, I think he'd have a pretty good sense of humor. I think he'd be kind of more open to do kind of different things compared to Draymond. I think he'd be really good. But you're right. But you take a look at Shaq. I mean, Shaq can do Inside the NBA, go DJ, do a Papa John's commercial, and be back. So I mean,
Shaq ain't trying to run a team, no, JG. Shaq ain't trying to own a team.
It's true. Fair enough. Well, didn't Shaq own a part of the Kings or something? Or
did he?
I thought he's dabbled in ownership.
I think he did.
And Dwayne Wade has too. I mean, it's not. I don't think anything out of the ordinary. So. Yeah, I feel you though. I just don't think TV I don't think he's going to go the Tom Brady route.
No,
but you're right. I would like to see him in that as a replacement. I wouldn't mind that. He has chemistry with all those guys. I think that would work. And I think he would have the sense of humor too, compared to Draymond. I agree with you.
Yeah, the thing about LeBron though is like he does have that sense of humor. We kind of seen it with some of like the early Nike commercials and the stuff that he was doing. But I just think like he's too passively aggressively petty. And as a person who
That's
is
fair.
passively aggressively petty, and myself see last night's NWA episode, yeah, it's just I don't know if he can, like, I think he could take a joke up to a certain point before
Right,
he
that's the
kinda,
thing.
like, yeah. And I think kind of like with Chuck and Shaq, like they got to be so tight that Chuck can just keep letting Shaq get away with these. Oh,
Of
you ain't got
course.
no ring, Chuck. Where your ring at,
Mhm.
bro? I think LeBron, like if Shaq was like, but you don't have more than Mike. How you say you better? How you say you better?
I think
than
LeBron will feel some type of way.
Probably.
Mike?
That's fair. That's true.
It'd be that gif of LeBron getting his
Yeah.
stuff up from after the press conference and walking out the room.
That's fair.
Ex-
I believe this segment is over, Shaquille.
Where you going, LeBron? Never again.
Real quick though, speaking of LeBron, like he might not be cut out for or might not want to do something like Inside the NBA, but he is a pretty damn good podcaster with him and a man that may be his future coach, and we might know that as early as tomorrow. JG,
Yeah.
what do you make of the whole Danny Hurley thing? And then now it looks like JJ Redick is the next man to take over as head coach for the LA Lakers.
Well, it's crazy because I heard the Lakers losing out on Dan Hurley was like a huge blow to the Lakers franchise. I'm like, it's the Lakers. I don't know. Like, people, I mean, I don't like. I think they can overcome a coach passing on their offer. I don't think it was that big of a deal. I mean, I understand how the college landscape has changed with NIL, the transfer portal, but still, college. I mean, seems like he has a pretty good gig there. His family's there. He's a lot of success. A lot of recruits want to come there, and it seems like they have a really good shot of going for the three-peat. So I didn't think it was that extraordinary they turned down the job. I just think with the Lakers, that's a brutal job. I mean, you don't know what LeBron's future is. Anthony Davis gets hurt all the time. There's huge pressure. So like, do you really want that job anyways? Like in this day and age, like unless you really care about the Lakers, I mean, I think I don't know if that's really a huge investment a lot of coaches want to take. In regards to JJ Redick, I mean, I don't know. I do feel some type of way with a lot of these, former players that have no coaching experience getting a lot of chances in their first coaching roles. When you have Becky Hammond out there, when you have a lot of coaches within the W that get interviews that don't get a shot at head coaching. I do have a problem with that. So I don't know. I think JJ Redick is a great basketball mind, but I mean,
has the window closed on Mark Jackson? Is Mark Jackson just never going to be a coach again?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know why. Is he radioactive? Because is he more radioactive than Doc Rivers? Doc Rivers got a shot. So why can't Mark Jackson get a shot? I don't know. Yeah, that's baffling to me. I don't know why he gets passed up for so many opportunities.
Yeah, because that's what I was literally thinking. Because it's like Mike Budenholzer got another job. I was like, how
Booty
man? How he get another job?
I always got love for Budenholzer though, just for that one season, JG, where he had like all 5 of the Hawks starters made the All-Star team, like that random collection of Hawks.
Forgot about that. That was true. Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
No, you're good, Ray.
I was just gonna say it just looked like when he's on the sideline, he just every shot they have of him, he just looks so confused. It's like, why are you looking
Well, even with Mark Jackson though, JG, like I can get from a personality standpoint, like Mark Jackson's personality might not be for every team.
Sure.
But in a league that tends to be a copycat league at times, if this is the dude, like granted, he was not the one that took the Golden State Warriors to that dynasty level, but he was the guy that kind of laid the foundation. You think just being in proximity to the Warriors' greatness, somebody would have been like, let's take a flyer on Mark Jackson.
Yeah, it's one of those massive mysteries that no one really wants to dish any dirt about. Because I haven't heard any players like specifically hate on him compared to Doc Rivers, where you've heard stories about some players not really liking this guy too much. So yeah, I don't really know why he hasn't been given another shot recently. Yeah.
Just a programming note, Ray Williams, your mission, if you choose to accept it, the invisible hand of Marcus Vanderberg has posted an idea in the Kings of Sport group chat for our next live watch this Sunday, 3 p.m. Fever, Sky, let's run it back again. How many damn games are these girls gonna play in this
Right.
short span of time?
That's true. That's crazy.
I mean, isn't it only like 20 teams and they keep
It seems like the only team the Indiana Fever play are the Chicago Sky and the damn Connecticut Sun.
Mhm.
On a loop.
It's true.
Like save something for the end of the season.
Right.
I do it, Ray, but I'm gonna be at work on Sunday. But I'd definitely be down for a Sky Fever live watch.
What time? 3 p.m.
3 p.m. Eastern, Ray.
Mhm. I'll think about it. I think usually I have my family dinners on Sundays.
I can't join you, but I'll see if I can get like Nikki Haley seems really invested in women's basketball. I'll see if I can get Nikki Haley, Stephen A. Smith, and Emmanuel Acho to watch it with you.
Oh,
Ray Williams, we need to have an uncomfortable conversation.
It's a nightmare stream.
We need to talk about women's basketball without talking about basketball, women, or James Naismith.
women.
Like we can't have that conversation then, Acho. I feel so bad for Joe Taylor sometimes. Like you could just tell, Justin.
Right.
She's just sitting there like,
It's
is it
true.
worth it? Is the bag worth it to do this every day?
No. It's
Yeah,
true.
that's the podcast I want to hear. It's like Joy Taylor and Molly Karam just venting.
Right.
Mm.
No, it's true.
So Justin, I don't know if you caught post wrestling last night around about this time, but this man Ray Williams has become a viral sensation. We were doing predictions for AEW Forbidden Door Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. And this man Ray Williams, we asked him what his prediction was for Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy. And my man, Ray Williams, Two-Way Ray, went on a 5-minute speech about how great Zack Sabre Jr. is, and he believes Swerve Strickland's gonna win the match because Zack Sabre Jr. can't pull the trigger on the Tiger Driver 97. And me and Andrew were trying to go along with him, Ray, until finally we just had to say, "Are we talking about the same match, Ray?" And Ray was just like, "Say what now?" Ray broke the show.
I'm a big fan of Zack Sabre Jr. I met him, I think, WrestleMania Dallas in 2016. I mean,
Okay.
I've been kind of on his bandwagon for a long time. How he has not been New Japan, their main champions, beyond me. So hopefully they pull the trigger. He wins the G1. I'm rooting for him. So we'll see how it goes.
It should be a fun G1 this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got Naito in the game.
Yeah, Takeshita too. He's in
Yep.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've been really big on Takeshita this year.
Mm-hmm.
I knew a little bit about him prior to AEW, but it feels like this past year, particularly like that Ospreay match. There was another match. I think it was on Revolution. Who Takeshita fight at Revolution? Ray.
Revolution?
Did he have a match at Revolution, like Sting's retirement show?
Oh, that wasn't the one he had against Will Ospreay.
Okay, so that was the Ospreay match. There was
it?
another one that he had that was
haven't
really
pulled it up.
good this past year. But yeah, I've been very impressed with Takeshita this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
Me too.
to me, it's like you can go ahead and strap the rocket to his back.
No, totally agree. I haven't liked the way they've been using him with this whole Don Callis family. Got a lot of great prospects. It's just like by who you're going to push. And especially they added Trent, and I just feel like he's just a henchman. I feel like that could have been a really, hot feud with him and Orange Cassidy. They get that match away for free. I'm like, isn't that a pay-per-view match? Like, why are you giving that away on Dynamite? I don't know.
You gotta know what to give the people for free and what to sell the people. For instance, this show y'all getting for free. But we also have something to sell you because we have a multitude of shows here at the Kings of Sport Network. In addition to the main show, the Kings of Sport, which has been going since 2013, we also have the Spinning Black Fist featuring Ray Williams and Chinyere Okafor talking about the world of mixed martial arts and combat sports. We have Andrew Thompson, who is bringing a show to the network here later this year. We've got the Avengers Initiative, which is our MCU podcast, and we have TDT Talks, which was a show we started during the pandemic, which is making a return some point this year. But for all of that, if you want to be on the ground floor, if you want the VIP treatment, sign up for the Kings of Sport Patreon, patreon.com/Ray/ the Kings of Sport. $5 gets you in the door. If you want to pay more, we won't stop you. In addition to over 300 hours of content, audio and video, talking about sports, politics, pop culture, pro wrestling, movies, all of that. In addition to all of that, you have the opportunity, like tonight, if you wish, to hop on the live streams with us whenever we do one of these things. So shout out to Ray for coming through with the live stream. So anybody that is at a $5 or more level can hop on a live stream and interact with us, and we can chop it up. Also, as Ray is on these TikTok streets now, Ray is out here doing the $1 million baby dances and whatnot. KOS_POD on TikTok. Follow the TikTok, follow the Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube. We try to do some big things here in 2024. JG has been more of a presence in the last few months here. It's funny we waited till the playoffs to start implementing our basketball expert. But sometimes things happen when they're supposed to, Justin.
All about timing. Appreciate the invite always.
Justin's like our Kristaps Porzingis. We already had a good team, but then we just needed to add a unicorn into the mix.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Kristaps, he's actually playing tonight. He had to come off the bench.
Yeah.
He didn't start. So
they cheered for him like he was Larry Bird and Kevin McHale. I was going to say
Right.
reincarnated, but they're both here still with us.
Mhm.
But you would have thought Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish walked off the bench at the same time, the way they was showing love to KP.
He was great game one. I mean, that was a
Mhm.
phenomenal performance.
And realistically, like even if he is limited now for the rest of the series, if it goes beyond tonight, like that might have been all they needed, JG, to get the ball rolling, was that game one performance. And it got the ball rolling.
Yeah, no, agree. It tells you how good the Celtics are, because really, I don't think Tatum's really shot the ball that particularly well, but they dominated the series.
In each of their wins, somebody's had a game. Like I think game one was Kristaps, game two was Drew Holiday, game three was Jaylen Brown, and then game four they were like, you know what, gentlemen sweep. We'll let you guys have one.
Yeah, it's not looking good for the Mavericks, that's for sure. Not looking good for people that in the camp of Luka wins this series, he's going to be the best player in the NBA. So. I didn't believe that anyway if he won.
No. And it's no disrespect to Luka. Like, Luka, you can say two things and have them both be true, Justin. Like, Luka is one of the best, perhaps the best offensive player in the league. Him and Jokic, I'd put them up there 1 and 2. You can say Luka is one of the top 10 players in the NBA. But you can't say Luka is the best player in the NBA when his defense is like Kaiser Soze. Like it's the usual suspect, Justin. Like, and the thing is, he doesn't even have to be like LeBron level or LeBron at his prime level or Drew Holiday level. He just has to be average at defense to take that next step, in my opinion.
No, it's true. But I really see a high ceiling for Luka. I get he's pretty weak defensively. I feel you on that. I think especially with the kind of the new players that are coming into the league, and kind of, you've mentioned with Victor Wembanyama. I think it's gonna be a lot of tough competition for that number one spot for sure. And defense is a huge weakness of his. But hopefully this will drive him. We'll see a lot of great players. It's cliche, but when they lose, especially in the finals, it drives a lot of great players to be better. Will this happen for Luka? I think it will.
Well, it's funny, Justin, because in the early stage of this year's playoffs, people were like, "Oh, this is the year that the narrative changes." Because for my entire life, it's been you have to get close before you can win. And then we saw kind of the Timberwolves pop up. We saw this Mavs team pop up. We saw the OKC Thunder pop up, and everybody's like, "Okay, well they about to take over." But instead, where we're at now is this Boston team that has lost in the finals, taking that next step in winning. So it's like, the players might have changed or the teams might have changed, but the narrative still holds.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I think you bring up a good point, especially in the NBA. I don't know how it is in other sports, but typically all teams have to go through some kind of crucible to kind of get the title, right? The Bulls went through this. You saw this even with the Heat. Those big three didn't win the title the first year. So, you see a lot of teams that, they begin of their makings of a dynasty, they have to go through some growing pains there. So I agree with you, Nate. It's not uncommon. And I think the Mavericks, it's going to be interesting to see what moves they make, in the offseason to kind of supplement this team for any weaknesses as well.
Well, I got two questions, one on
Yeah.
each team, but I'll start with the question I have for Boston. Boston, if they do win, I know that, and I kind of asked this question to Chris last time we were on the air with our
Chris,
live stream.
who is conspicuously absent, Chris.
But I asked him this question, and he kind of brought up the fact that within the first half of this decade, we've had different champions each year. And so, and with most of those champions, whether it be Milwaukee or whether it be Denver, we kind of thought that those teams were next. With the Celtics, do you believe if they get the win tonight that they're next on kind of solidifying their legacy and kind of building, because they've quietly been one of the best teams in the league over the last half decade? So do you believe that they kind of solidify that legacy and that they can build on and possibly have a dynasty, or do you feel as though there's still too much parity within the league?
Good question. I think the leagues has gotten a lot more competitive. I think it's unfair to say that the East is just a trash conference anymore. I think there's a lot of great teams. I think with Boston, they have underperformed in some years. My concern is just, I think if Porzingis stays healthy, I think you might get that dynasty. I think if he's up and down, if he gets traded or if he just hurt, for a large part of this season, I think they're quite vulnerable. And also, you have to take a look at egos with Tatum and Brown. Both guys, they play very similarly. And does one guy want to change? Does what the other guy does? I don't know. I think if they keep those two together as a core and keep their defensive identity, I think looking at the rest of the league, I think they get a shot, but I think it's really competitive. Like, I don't think they're heads and shoulders above the rest of the league. Even though I think this year's playoffs has been kind of not that competitive. There's been a lot of blowouts. So I don't know. I think it's weird because I don't think the gap between them and the rest of the teams, specifically in the Eastern Conference, is that big. But if you take a look at the blowouts, I think that says contrary to that. So I don't know. I think they still got some weaknesses for sure. But I think if things break their way, and especially with their defensive identity, I know they've tried different things just with Kyrie being in Boston and kind of different experimentations with the lineup. I do think this is, the best version of the Celtics with Jrue Holiday in there and with Porzingis. But I do think they're vulnerable. So I wouldn't count on them, having a dynasty just yet. I do think the league is filled with parity at this point.
Gotcha. And
especially
also,
if the rumors are true, if the scuttlebutt on these streets is true, and Paul George may be heading east, that could be interesting, Justin.
Yep. Well, they're sitting at the same announce table, right? Him and Joel Embiid. So we'll see.
We shall see. Now, I do want to flip the script a little bit and have a question about Dallas. So if Dallas ends up losing, and again, this is a question that I asked to Chris on Friday. What do you think the options are? Or we kind of know what the options are, but what do you think is most likely? Do you think they just keep Luka, ship Kyrie, break everything else down? Do you think they keep Kyrie and Luka as a core and then just try to find some more role players to kind of sink in with them? Or do you think that they keep everything together as is?
I think they need a third option. I think what's been surprising with the Mavericks is just how well this team has done with a lot of kind of unknown players around Kyrie and Luka. So I don't think you need to really tinker with it too much. Again, I think the league is a lot more closer in terms of the gap between 1 and 8 than it has ever been. I think the era where we have like the top 4 teams in each conference and the bottom 4 are just trash. I think that's over, in my opinion. So I don't think the Mavericks need to make too many changes. I think they're kind of in a little bit of a boat that the Clippers are now, where they have the big arena. And I think, Mark Cuban, especially with this the whole purchase that went down, I know the Mavericks a little bit of a transition period of what their future is in terms of the kind of their home and how that's going to look like. But I do like Kyrie and Luka. And it seems like Kyrie's going to learn from Brooklyn and just from Boston. And I think he's at peace. I don't know. He just seems like he's happier in Dallas. And so I think getting rid of him would be a mistake. Especially when you have 2 guys that are really ball dominant and they have great chemistry. I wouldn't want to break that up.
Gotcha. All right. And real quick, I do want to get I know we mentioned this before, but yes, Konosuke Takeshita lost to Will Ospreay at Revolution.
That's right.
And then I believe he had a number 1 contendership match with Swerve Strickland.
Yeah, that was a great match.
In March. He had the title eliminator against John Moxley a couple weeks ago. But I know, he did have some other like great matches. I know he when he beat Kenny Omega last year, like he's a tremendous talent.
Yeah, I totally agree.
He made it 3. Holy crap. Like Pritchard.
Was that Peyton Pritchard again?
3. Yeah.
Was that Peyton Pritchard again? It's Kenny Smith. It's over, ladies and gentlemen. It's over. Yeah, it's over.
Time to go home.
Peyton Pritchard done it again. It's a wrap. Peyton Pritchard, Series MVP.
Woo! Splash. Nothing but the bottom of the net. Half court.
Peyton Pritchard will never have to pay for a drink for the rest of his life in Boston.
Right.
There's a funny conversation on the Bomani Jones show. It was him and Dominique Foxworth on Foxworth Friday. And they were like, Justin, kind of the stereotype about Boston fans.
Yeah.
He's like, right now it's a horse race between Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser as to who is going to be the favorite Celtic from this team for generations. And with that shot, Peyton Pritchard it's over. Sorry, Sam Hauser.
No, he sealed it. Now it's true. Yeah, game, set, match.
Hauser got to go to Utah or something now to get that kind of love.
Right. And with that, we come to the end of the half. Celtics with a commanding 21-point lead. I don't know, guys. I mean, they did have a 21-point lead in game 3.
Luka's only taken 10 shots, so I find that alarming in a closeout game.
The crazy thing about Boston is it's just there's so many ways they can win.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like, whenever we have an election, and whether you watch MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, whoever, like they always talk about paths to election victory. And they're like, well, the Republican has this path to victory, which they can win in these states. And then the Democrat, like they have more options of states they can win. Whereas the Republican usually, like if they lose a state like Ohio, it's probably a wrap because they kind of need that to win. And I think when you look at this finals, JG, Boston can win in a multitude of ways. Where it's like Dallas, if Kyrie and Luka ain't really hitting, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's a wrap. No, it's true. That's something they're going to have to address in the offseason for sure. But I do think this is Luka's first finals. I think there's a lot of room for growth. So I don't think this season was a failure by any means. I think they overachieved. So, we'll see how this affects them for sure. But yeah, I think Boston, too many weapons. I think even with Porzingis as being in and out of the lineup, I think Boston was the superior team for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, I do want to mention something off the court, unless you had anything else to follow up with, Nate.
No, man. I'm just, Chris, I know you're not here tonight, brother. And, just know that we not just your co-host, Chris. We your family, man. We your brothers. If you need somebody to call, don't call me tonight because I got work in the morning. But if you need to talk this weekend, Chris, to get over the emotion of the Celtics hosting up another Larry O'Brien trophy, call Ray. because Ray's off for the summer. Call Ray, then call me on the weekend, and we'll be there for you, brother.
Yes, and remember, if you can't hang your hat on nothing else, hang your hat on the fact that Nate is going to get you that in-season tournament championship banner pillow for Christmas.
For Christmas, I'm gonna get. At first, it was just gonna be a pillowcase, but now I'm like, you know what? Chris needs to pick me up. I'm gonna get him like a whole bed set, like made like the Lakers in-season tournament banner. I'm gonna get somebody off of Etsy to do it. And it's
That's
like, Chris,
incredible.
Whenever you need to feel comfort, just wrap yourself up in that inaugural IST, brother.
That's funny.
It's something that
hilarious.
the Celtics don't have.
No,
Right, Boston can never say they was the
That's true.
first IST champion.
it's true.
It's time for the 1 minute halftime show on ABC.
Right.
And
I got Julius Randle up there.
Let's see, this brother needs. Oh, what's
Julius
going on with
Randle
the
looks
hair, brother?
like you ever see the movie The Five Heartbeats, Ray?
Yes.
They got Julius Randle out here looking like Eddie Kane Jr. Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. he looks like one of the. He's like the sixth temptation, like the temptation that came in after David Ruffin got kicked out.
Right. Especially with the doggone, what's he got? Like a tank top with the chain on
Yeah, he's got like the tank top with the chain on
jacket.
and a blazer. Yeah,
That's funny.
like, just random for no reason. But you said you were going to talk about something off the court, Ray.
Well, yes, I did want to bring something up. So I think it was prior to the series beginning that, again, aforementioned Vinny Goodwill from Yahoo Sports was in a press conference with Joe Mazzulla, and he actually posed the same question to Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, and also to Jason Kidd, the coach of the Dallas Mavericks, as far as this being the first meeting of two black head coaches, I believe, since 1975.
Which is crazy.
And
Yeah.
and the former guys, Kidd and Silver, gave pretty thought out answers and thoughtful answers, but Joe Mazzulla answered with how many of those coaches were Christian. So
Joe Mazzulla's different.
yeah,
He's different. Just that's the way I'll put it. Joe Mazzulla's a little different.
I've heard. Yeah. I think it was Derek White. I think he was saying he was congratulating Mazzulla. He got coach of the week or coach of the month or something. And I think Mazzulla's like, who cares? Like, I just think that's kind of his personality. He's like a weird personality, I guess. Seems to work. The players are bought in. So
He said he watched like his favorite movie is The Town, which is like, okay, cool. I get it. You're from Boston. But he says he watches it every week.
Wow.
Like I love Black Panther. I love Tropic Thunder. I love, Men in Black, the first one. I'll watch them maybe once a year, Justin. I'm not watching no damn Tropic Thunder every week.
Agreed. No, that's crazy. Unless you want to like rob banks.
right.
He's got enough money. So
Like, brother, where do you find the time?
Right. That's true,
I
too.
can't even squeeze in. Yeah, I can't even squeeze in like an hour and a half movie like during the week. Where do
Right.
you find the time?
You know what's crazy to me about this team, though, Justin? Like, for all of the kind of flack that Danny Ainge got, like maybe 7 years ago for like the pick hoarding, because Danny Ainge was like me for real on NBA 2K. I be trading star players all the time to get these number one picks. and not for years, my favorite team to play with on 2K for my GM Justin was OKC, because they had a ridiculous amount of number one draft picks. But yeah, like Danny Ainge was clowned for all of those number one draft picks, and I think this is the process that Philly thinks they're Boston. Yeah. Philly thinks like the process that they had with Joel Embiid and with James Harden and with some of these other cats, JG, like Boston actually did the process right. Like it took them a little minute, but it's paid off going from, and you went from Ainge to Brad Stevens. Now you got Joe Mazzulla on the sidelines. And it's like organizationally, I think Boston shows that you can try to win now, but you can also have foresight and patience and make tough decisions. Like, I'm sure it wasn't easy trading Marcus Smart, who was like kind of the heart and soul of the team for a few years. But like it assuming the game ends like we think it's going to end, like it finally paid off.
No, and that's what's frustrating about being a Bulls fan, because you're just stuck in this purgatory, just this kind of hellscape of mediocrity every year. So it's just, they don't want to make any moves. They don't want to trade Caruso. They don't want to move on from Lonzo Ball. What happens to DeRozan? What happens to Vucevic? Like, all these guys, they're good. Like, they're not the bottom of the league. They're not the Pistons, but like you're the 8th and 9th seed every year. I mean, where are you going to go compared to just building throughout the draft and, building towards the future? It's just, you're just stuck in the same thing every year where, lose to the number 1 seed. So, I credit the Boston for making those huge changes. It's not easy, because I know how it feels to be stuck with just kind of mediocre players besides DeMar DeRozan. So,
yeah. And included in one of those big changes was Brad Stevens kind of seeing that he wouldn't be able to get to the team, or wouldn't be able to get him over that hump. But when we talk about Joe Mazzulla, we got to talk about the brother that he replaced. And so now that we kind of see, and I think friend of the show, Bomani Jones, also mentioned it, is like, even though Joe Mazzulla has gotten them to another finals, we still don't know how good of a coach Joe Mazzulla is. And so do you guys think that, and with Ime kind of being in Houston now and kind of stuck in that particular purgatory, but he does have the advantage of kind of trying to build through the draft, like you were just mentioning, Justin. Like, do you feel as though, well, I won't say who's the better coach, but I would ask, with Ime, do you think that he's in a better position to kind of be the head of bringing Houston back to prominence? And do you think that Mazzulla is actually making a difference on the head coaching in his position in Boston?
Yeah, I think both things can be true. I mean, my co-host loves the Rockets. So, and we've had a bunch of Rockets analysts. They've teamed, from what I have heard from this analyst and just my co-host, they seem to really bought into what Udoka's doing in Houston, really rebuilding that culture, which was kind of scattered previously, but under his leadership seems to be really buying into what they're doing with a lot of your younger core. But with Mazzulla, I mean, especially we talk about his quirky personality, but you watch The Last Dance. I mean, Phil Jackson has a quirky personality. They bought into what he was doing. So I think it's all about, like, I think coaching is somewhat underrated within the NBA. I think, a lot of people, including myself, we gotta get caught up in just, the star players they'll just take over and the coaching doesn't really matter. Where I think coaching does matter in terms of managing superstars and egos and getting the chemistry to work. So I don't know. I think both guys are doing a fantastic job for different reasons. I think with Udoka, it's going to be a longer process, especially within the Western Conference. I think it is more stacked. So I think, you're going to have to go through, like, what's going to happen with the Pelicans, the Kings, and then you have, like, now the Timberwolves and the Thunder now rising to prominence. You still got the Nuggets, and we're not even mentioning the Lakers or the Clippers. I mean, there's a lot of teams that they're going to have to possibly leapfrog. And I don't know if they have that ability yet, just due to the depth of the West, compared to Mazzulla, where I think that core of that defensive core and Tatum and Brown staying together, even though I think the gap is smaller within the Eastern Conference than in years past, I think there's more room for Boston to be a lot more successful when it comes to playoffs and titles there. I think both guys are set up for success, but, one is part of a rebuild. So you're going to run into some hurdles there for sure.
Most definitely. All right. Well, let's take a bit of a shift since it is halftime. We can kind of diverge a bit from basketball and get your thoughts. I know you mentioned some wrestling earlier. Let's get your thoughts on the Clash of the Castle that just passed by this past Saturday. And of course, the big talk out of everything is Drew McIntyre getting screwed over by CM Punk. What do you think about the decision for Drew McIntyre to lose in his actual home country, not an adopted home country like Wales, but his actual home country in Scotland?
Yeah.
And with CM Punk kind of extending that storyline between them both.
I think on the surface, this would be a old school Vince McMahon decision, right? What is it? The hometown wrestler doesn't win in his hometown; they lose in horrible fashion.
Oh, of
but I
course.
think if you see the pieces lining up, I think it's setting up for Gunther to be the champion. Just with him losing the IC title, I think that's the only path. He has to bank title shot. I think you have CM Punk, Drew McIntyre doesn't need a championship. So I actually like this decision. My only question is that is CM Punk really the babyface? I mean, the situation. I mean, it seems like he's a jerk, Drew McIntyre, the character, but it's CM Punk that just keeps screwing this guy over and over again. So I didn't have a problem with it. I know there's a lot of outrage, but I can see where they're going. The pieces have been laid out, as opposed to if this would happen like 5 years ago, does it make no sense? So I'm willing to give, WWE a little bit more of a leash in terms of where this goes. So I wasn't outraged by it. I thought the match was really good. I felt bad for Damian Priest. That was scary with his foot being caught up in the ropes. I was like, oh,
very scary.
I thought they're going to call an audible and McIntyre was going to win the match, honestly, just due to that injury. But it seemed like he was okay, Damian Priest. So credit to him for just, sticking it out and getting it through the match. But I wasn't outraged by the booking of that match at all. I see where they're going. So I don't think that's too much of an issue, but I might be in a minority of that opinion, according to the internet.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I think it was 2 instances where people got tangled up in the ropes. And it was not very pretty and definitely not a work. I don't know how people are saying, oh, well, that was a work. See, that was
really?
a spot they
What?
I think, yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow. Like, there's no way this man meant to slip and put almost all of his body weight to the point and hoping that the ropes would catch his leg. Like, no, there's no
That's a hell of a spot. I mean, Damian Priest is a lot more talented than I thought.
He's just that good, brother.
Right, I guess so. Apparently.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I'm kind of in agreement with you as well. I think that because I was kind of under the impression that, hey, if Drew loses, we riot. I thought it was going to be that kind of atmosphere, but and I think we talked about this last night as well, as though it went from CM Punk getting flipped the double birds by the crowd to then like 2 minutes later, not even a minute later, them showing people hugging him.
Right.
And I think it was I think someone on the show did say something to the effect of, well, people, or I think I heard this from Walt Culture Wrestling as well. People in these different places around the world that don't get the WWE to come in so much, is like they do have love for their own stars to a certain point, like their own homebred stars, but they don't get a chance to see the CM Punks that often, or they don't get a chance to see like the Seth Rollinses or like the other big stars, the Cody Devontae Rhodes. I gotta say the whole name like a
right. His government.
But yeah, and so it's like 50-50, and that's where you don't get such a raucous crowd in the other direction to where something like that happens. And kind of reminded me of the forgotten match on that card, Bailey versus I keep wanting to call her Doudrop, Piper Niven.
Yeah.
Well, where Piper Niven was supposed to be like this hometown gal and everybody was supposed to be on her side, but it was kind of like a 50-50 crowd for Bailey because Bailey's a star and she's got these catchy songs that have been catching like wildfire. So yeah, I just think that in hindsight, it was a good move considering that the crowd wasn't too like PO'd after it.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And I think with Piper Niven, I mean, I think they dropped the ball on her a little bit on her booking. Like you could see she was just there to get the title match in her hometown and lose to Bailey. Like I don't think they're really building her as a legitimate threat. Chelsea Green's been getting more of the spotlight compared to Piper. So
Yeah.
I mean, I just think, I probably hurt in terms of her reaction compared to Bailey. So.
All right, brothers. Well, the third quarter has just gotten underway, and it's still a 21-point lead. I believe Tatum just scored a dunk.
Yep.
So, man.
I'm telling you, anybody that bet them Jason Tatum overs, we finna eat tonight, boys.
Let me see. I was trying to get like a box store of everything. So
I hit a crazy parlay on BetMGM. I'll put their name out there. Maybe one day they'll sponsor us, and I could be in the commercials with Jamie Foxx and Kevin Garnett. But I hit this crazy parlay because the European soccer tournament's going on right now, and I just, I'm not like Stephen A. Smith. I'm not gonna sit up here in front like I have been the champion for a sport when I ain't even really been watching it, Justin. I'm not a soccer enthusiast. I played FIFA back in the day on the Xbox or the PlayStation, but I'm not a soccer enthusiast. So I went through this European Cup, and all I did, I did like a 7-leg parlay, and all I did was pick the countries that I knew: England, France, Germany, Spain, and I had a 7-leg parlay. And today, after France won, and this is the danger of gambling, folks, because that's why they call it a gamble, Justin, because sometimes games don't go according to plan. And the only reason France beat, I think France played Portugal or somebody who was supposed to lose to France big. France won by 1 goal, and it was an own goal on the other team. And that's the only reason my 7-leg parlay hit. I think I bet like $15 and ended up making, a couple hundred on these streets.
Wow, nice.
Ray Williams. So I might call out late to work tomorrow, brother. You know how we get a little extra paper. But speaking of gambling, Justin, has it surprised you how quickly gambling has just become normalized? Like not for the players, obviously, but as it surprised you how quickly everybody just kind of accepts, like, gamble. We all gambling on this.
Yeah, not really. I just think it was kind of bubbling to the surface. I think a lot of people wanted to talk about gambling, but it was pretty taboo. I mean, Ray will know this. With John Anik, I mean, he's hardcore into gambling. I mean, he was really pushing for years to talk about lines and talk about gambling during UFC fights, and now he has the opportunity to, and he has a deal with DraftKings and everything. So I think this was kind of, bubbling under the surface, and at least want to make more money. And so they're making a lot more money just teaming up with these different gambling outlets. So I'm not surprised in terms of kind of this fusion that we're seeing now, for sure.
Speaking of fusion, Justin, like you mentioned DraftKings, man. DraftKings, if y'all looking for more people to partner up with, this show is called the Kings of Sport. We could be, you know what? Here's the thing, Justin. I'm a principled man, Justin. I take a stand on the things I believe in. So, but that only goes so far. Like, you ain't never going to see me sell out on Fox News. I'm not going to be that type of brother, Justin. I'm not going to be on Fox News trashing my own people for a paycheck like Jason Whitlock on these streets. But I am not above changing this show's name, this name that has been around since 2013. We could be the DraftKings of sport. I'm not above that, brother. I'm not above that. We will take the DraftKings bag and be the DraftKings of sport, and we're going to talk about lines and overs and unders, and Ray will have his Stone Cold Lead Pipe picks of the week, of the century.
Make sure you copyright it.
Give us all the gambling money.
$1 million man. Everyone has a price.
Right.
But I did want to stay on that kind of topic with the betting, and you kind of alluded to it, Nate, where you kind of mentioned that the players don't really engage in it, but there was one player that tried to, and it didn't work out. To him,
Not
so.
that they don't engage in it, Ray, but they ain't supposed to engage in it, Ray.
Right.
Because we see what happens when you do engage in it. Was it Jonte? Was it? I forget.
Yeah,
which Porter
Jonte
brother.
Porter.
Jonte
Yeah.
Porter. I mean, the whole Porter brother family. Porter brother family. That's not even a sentence. All of the Porter brothers, except for Michael, seem to be going through some things. JG.
No, it's true. I'm looking it up now. His net winnings was only $21,965.
Damn,
Like,
dog.
you know, like, all that for 21.
That's
grand.
like the baseball player that was just suspended for life that finally got caught up from the minors and had all these bets, and I think they said he lost on 70% of his bets.
It's
like
I don't get with these guys either. Just get one of your homies,
right?
Yeah, and just have them just bet on MGM or DraftKings.
Like you don't have a friend, Jonte
Right.
Porter, that could just make the bets for you. You know, just give him like 10% to be the bet maker.
Yeah, the stupidity.
Yeah. And I was gonna ask this too. Is like and I've heard this question kind of being bantied around before within like sports journalism or sports reporting.
Yeah.
Like with the advent of these relationships that the leagues are pretty much being embedded in bed with these gambling companies or these gambling corporations or these betting corporations. Are you surprised that this something to this scale? Because we've seen like players like your boy from the Atlanta Falcons name who got banned for a
Calvin
year.
Ridley.
Yeah. Or like I think there was another player from the Lions who got banned for a year. But when we're seeing like outright players kind of betting on themselves or betting on their teams, like Jonte Porter is kind of like the first case of that. Like, are you surprised that we're just now seeing something like this? And do you think it's going to be pretty rampant in the future, or do you think that this is just like an aberration?
I think it's an aberration. I don't see your major players. They make too much money participating in this. I think you might see this more in combat sports. But for what I've heard, it's kind of linked to the government too. They are like watching this closely. There's a lot of oversight supposedly. So I just don't know if you're going to see a massive problem of this, which is just so much. It's just the odds of getting caught is just really high at this point. So I think you're going to see players just try to do this. I just think it's stupid. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's not like a lot of these players are making millions of dollars off of sports betting. It's just, I just don't know why, if it's worth ruining your career for these major leagues. I can see more of like the sports that don't actually pay their athletes. Again, combat sports.
Like if you're a G League guy, I could see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I am just surprised at how many players have gotten busted at this point. Like, why would you? I don't know, especially the ROI, like what's the return on investment is super low for a massive risk. So that is surprising to me.
Also, Ray Williams, not only are we doing a live watch of the NBA Finals Game 5, but I'm flipping back and forth between the finals and Monday Night Raw. And Triple H, you ain't slick. I see what you're doing there. Currently, there's a match between Sheamus, and y'all know Sheamus's complexion. And Braun Breaker got the spray tan popping out here looking like Taz reincarnated. Again, Taz can't be reincarnated because Taz is still with us.
He's still alive.
But like they know what they ain't slick.
Oh, did the no mention of the Wyatt 5 or Wyatt?
They're probably
6
saving
yet?
that for the end of the show.
Probably.
I think that's going to be a huge failure. Like people get hyped up for that. Like people got hyped up for Bray Wyatt. And I remember Way and John talking about that, especially when Bray came back. It's like, that's great. You can do all the QR codes. You can have to return. We can, you know, everybody can cry in the audience. But where's the feud? I mean, he feuded with LA Knight in a glow in the dark match. I mean,
that match was terrible.
Where's the payoff? And the same thing with this.
Ray
Like,
said,
I
I
don't-
liked it.
I mean, it was cool looking.
I didn't think
with
it was so bad.
with
looked
the
cool.
humble.
I-
Ray snuck in there with a humble meek. He was
the
like,
gear looked cool.
I was saying Boo Earns.
The gear looked cool. I give him that. I just don't know what this. Who are they going to feud with? Everybody's tied up. I mean, are you
Don't
gonna really,
talk about
I mean-
Ray's match of the year.
I mean, are you really going to push a talent that's named Uncle Howdy?
Well,
I
the
mean,
thing with,
really?
that also makes me kind of scratch my head on this, JG. Andrew talked about it last night. Apparently, the reports are because I was like, I'm down for it if they kind of bring some mysticism back because we haven't had a lot of that lately
Sure.
in the WWE. And apparently, by the reports, it's going to be a more grounded version of the Wyatt family, which kind of feels like Retribution, and nobody wanted Retribution the first time.
Yeah. No, it's
Well-
true, especially with mysticism. Like you have the book perfectly, and I just think unless I don't know, the last mystical character that was booked really awesome was the Undertaker, and even that had a lot of like huge mistakes.
Yeah, it took him a while.
Took him a while. So the odds of really pulling that off, there's other than that they're all failures in terms of having a mystical character. I think Bray Wyatt came the closest, but I don't think he wasn't able to hit because who was running booking at that time. So I don't like the odds of this group. But we'll see. I'm down to be proven wrong. So
Yeah, I think they're probably going to dispose of all the Uncle Howdy stuff since they already reveal who's behind the mask.
I hope so.
And I think you could be grounded while still kind of having a fictional base or being suspended in disbelief, because I think when I think of Bray Wyatt, I think like some of the stuff that he did was pretty mystical, like with the Firefly Funhouse. But I think when it came down to the Fiend, where he's literally just a slasher, he's a horror movie slasher, and I think you can be grounded while still having kind of like a fictional aspect like that, where these Wyatt Five are now kind of atoning for, I guess, the people that came against Bray Wyatt in the past, and they're hunting them down like one by one, and they're not like truly murdering them. And hopefully we don't have a point where people are spitting up black goop like Randy Orton was at a certain point. But I don't know. It'll be difficult because I think it was mentioned on the show that like everybody knows that it's a tribute and it can only go so far. And then how are you going to kind of excel past that or evolve past just being a tribute group?
No, it's true. You already have kind of a broody group already with Judgment Day.
Oh yeah.
Like where's the end game? Like, are they gonna feud over the IC title? There's already a hot feud with that, with Gable and Sami Zayn. You have Braun Breaker, Sheamus. You have all these guys. I mean, where you fit this group in? I mean, I just kind of see them as kind of like a lower mid card, and I think I don't know. My predictions are they're going to be on main event in like a couple of months. But I don't. My hopes are pretty low for this group, to be honest. I just don't see where they fit in terms of especially with Triple H taking over the booking. Everything's so strategically placed in advance, and I just don't know how they weaving through that. And I even saw Seth Rollins is back, so I mean, I just don't know how they fit.
At least Bo Dallas and the white chocolate cheesecake of sports entertainment, Nikki Cross, still out here getting checks. See,
Right.
people forget, man. You ain't been watching Nikki Cross all these years, Ray Williams. I've been watching all these years back when she was the white chocolate cheesecake of sports entertainment. That name don't make no sense, but it makes all the sense in the world at the same time, Ray Williams.
Man, she has so many gimmicks, and she's only been in WWE for what, 5-6 years, and I know she was in NXT as well. But yeah, so many. I didn't even know that part. I knew of like her coming up with that group with Eric Young and with Big Damo.
Yeah, Sanity.
Sanity.
But
yeah, now this was
I didn't
before.
know
This was like
no white chocolate
in the UK scene, and like when she would pop up in Shimmer or like WSU every now and then. She was the white chocolate cheesecake of sports entertainment. And it's like that name. I had the reaction that Sam Wilson had the Baron Zemo on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Justin. I was like, she's out of line. But she's not wrong. She's not wrong. Speaking of out of line, these damn Celtics.
Yeah, seems like it's all over.
Peyton Pritchard made his one shot for the
right
for the game, and he's done. He's done for the night. What do you think about this team, Justin? Because I've seen people talk on whether it's First Take or Speak or Get Up or First Things First, which is slowly becoming one of my favorite sports talk shows.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Like I really like I always like Nick Wright, Bruce growing on me, and then like Wiles is like the secret sauce, like this random dude that I've never seen this dude before my whole life, Justin. But I feel like Wiles is like just kind of the random he feels like back in the days when First Take used to be Cold Pizza.
Oh yeah.
The host was like I forget his last name, but it was like Jay something.
I forgot his last name.
He feels like Jay from Cold Pizza.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I remember who you talking about.
Cold Pizza was a weird show.
It was.
Yeah.
We got this dude Jay. We got Kit Hoover from Road Rules. We got Skip Bayless, and we got Woody Page. Like, that's a random ass sports show.
It is.
And Jamel Hill was there too. It's like just a random sports show. But I feel like a lot of talking heads this week, Justin, have been saying if the Celtics do win the finals, this puts them up there, with one of the greatest runs in postseason history. Now, granted, I do feel like there is kind of an asterisk because of the injuries and the teams that they had to face to get here. But what do you think historically if Boston wins tonight? Or if, it takes them a couple games to win it, where does Boston fit historically with some of the great teams?
That's a good question. I'm kind of bad with these questions because I think history I think we can become prisoners of the moment. And so I don't know. I got the sense they didn't come off to me as like this super dominant team that just went through everybody. Like you said, Nate, I think a lot of the teams they encountered had a lot of injuries. But that's still, I mean, they won the title, they won the title. But I think if this is going to be a huge dynasty, I don't think this first title is going to be as memorable. Just due to and maybe they're a victim of their own success and making it look that easy, especially against the Mavericks. I mean, they weren't hurt, and they dominated them. So, yeah, I think this will go down as one of the. I don't know. I think it's a good question. I can't. I mean, I wouldn't really compare them to like any of the LeBron teams. Maybe. I mean, they probably would take out. I think when LeBron won that title in Cleveland, but I don't know. I have to really think about that one. They haven't made that big of an impression to say they're one of the greatest, playoff teams ever. This is some dominant NBA run. That hasn't really stood out to me. But maybe in hindsight, reflecting over the stats and everything, that might change. But like you said, Nate, I think the injuries, I think that kind of put a damper for me. And also too, this is a surprise. Like everybody's anticipating Boston that either face even the Timberwolves or even Denver. So I think them facing Dallas, I think that might hurt them as well. Even though it
feels like the Timberwolves were specifically created and constructed to beat Denver and nobody else. Because it's like, damn, dog.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Like what happened in that conference finals?
No, it's true. I mean, everybody's anointing Anthony Edwards as the next Jordan, and saw what happened there. So
Anthony Edwards is like I think Chris always says, who's the player Chris always says the Lakers let get away?
What is it, Tatum?
I think Chris is like Jason Tatum is the player the Lakers let get away. For me, it's
Lonzo Ball instead.
Yeah, they drafted Lonzo instead of Tatum. For me, because to be fair, like to the Lakers, Lonzo's father once beat Michael Jordan in a game of pickup. So, he comes from one of the greatest basketball players in the history of the world. Never lost. But like to me as an Atlanta Hawks fan, Justin, Anthony Edwards, that's the one that hurts, man. Because it's like, yes, I get that, they were kind of in a position where he was picked a few spots ahead of where they were drafting. But I would have done anything in my power to move up to have Anthony Edwards and Trae Young in the same backcourt. That would have been crazy.
Right. No, it's true. I wonder what their chemistry would be. I just feel like their egos, there would be some clashes there. But yeah, I don't know. I think it would be exciting for sure. I mean,
Yo,
that was
Trae Young is hilarious because
Yeah.
he's my favorite player, JG, one of my favorite players.
yeah.
But whenever I play 2K with the Hawks, they always do like you got some players that do the voiceovers for their sideline interviews,
Oh,
or the post game interviews, and like it never fails. Like if I'm doing a season with the Hawks, at least 4 or 5 times a season because it's a computer and it like repeats certain things after a while. They'll get the question where it's like Doris Burke or somebody on the sideline. They'll be like, Trae, you guys had a great game. What's going on with your team chemistry? And computer Trae Young, without fail, Justin. Well, this is a great group of guys. We do a lot of bonding. I take the guys out. We go bowling and stuff. And I'm just happy to be here in Atlanta. I was like, why?
Oh my goodness.
Why y'all do my boy dirty like that?
When did Trae Young turn into Mike Tyson?
I'll say there was a little bit of Mike Tyson in there. I feel like Trae's got like a slight, like it's not really even a lisp, but it's like a slight, kind of like slight. He's kind of like if Patrick Mahomes and Mike Tyson's voices had a baby, and that baby voice is Trae Young. I don't know if that's possible.
Oh my goodness. That'd be crazy.
This series.
But I did want to kind of harken back. I think you guys were just talking. You can remind me what were you guys just talking about? I'm sorry.
Well, I know what I was just talking about, Ray. I was talking about Trae Young being Trae Young's voice being the baby of Patrick Mahomes and Mike Tyson's voice, and that's crazy. You know what else is crazy, Ray? We got like 130 something people watching the live stream right now. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you have comments or questions about the NBA Finals or the season as a whole, or what teams might do in the offseason, hit us up. Join the chat. JG is here. We got a basketball expert here. If you have questions for him. Also, it's still not too late. If you are a patron, you can hop in and join us here on the live stream. Where are Boston fans at? Where the Boston fans at? Y'all want to thump your chest a little bit right now. Where the Dallas fans at? Do y'all want to show some love for your team? Where are Chris's Lakers fans at? Who are in shambles right now? Where the San Antonio Spurs fans at? Who are out there enjoying Victor Wembanyama and the big women in San Antonio, as Charles Barkley would say. I ain't never been to San Antonio, so I don't know if that's an accurate statement or not, but Chuck has said it long enough and often enough, Ray, that I believe it's fact that if I go to San Antonio in my suit, I'm going to find me some big women, and we're going to watch Victor Wembanyama. I don't know why that name is so tough. Victor Wembanyama. It's the N and the M.
Yeah.
The inverted N and the M's. That always get me. Why is it so easy for me to say Antetokounmpo and not Wembanyama?
Because I think you've been saying it for longer. I think it's going to take some time for Big Vic to be in the league for us to get the full pronunciation.
Just going to call him Wemby.
Sure. There you go.
That's what most people have been doing.
That's true.
But it's not looking good.
Nope.
Everybody say it with 1, 2, 3 Cancun.
Yeah. Air ball for Luka.
I'm just glad Dallas won a game, though. Nice gentleman sweep.
That's true.
Which you predicted.
I did predict the gentleman sweep. That's why we are the DraftKings of sport. Has Kyrie cracked double figures yet?
I don't know.
No, I think the last time I checked, or the last they showed, he was at 5 points, 5 assists. Let me see if that's still the line.
Kyrie out here putting up Mario Chalmers numbers.
Now he has
shout out to Mario Chalmers.
Mario. Now he has 9.7 assists.
Okay. Yeah, those are like Alex Caruso numbers.
Right.
Sorry, Justin.
No offense taken.
3 of 12 shooting.
Damn.
1 for 6.
What is it with Kyrie in Boston, Justin? He rarely has a good game when he's gone back to play in Boston.
That's true. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a question he's going to have to answer. I mean, it seemed it didn't go well when he was there, and now, this is going to haunt him for
Oh
sure.
my.
I think he's so talented, but his performance, I don't know, it's kind of inexcusable for him being the level of superstar that he is, for sure. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know. I know Boston's a notorious tough place to play, but he's been in the Eastern
Mm.
Conference for years. I mean, I'm not
Yeah, I
sure.
mean,
How many points
nothing
is
went
Tatum
right.
at right now?
Let me see. Nothing went right since he came in with that sage. Uh, he's 20 points, 7 to 17 shooting, 1 for 5 at the 3-pointer, 10 assists, so a double it looks like, and he's got 6 rebounds.
He still has yet to have like that crazy
That's true.
scoring game, Justin, but he's been good this whole series in
He
terms of
has.
the other things, defense, assisting.
That's true. Yeah, and I think, I
Mm.
don't know, shot making, people freak out over that. Like, well, a player, it has a poor shooting night, they play terribly. It's like I look at the other stats. I mean, that's what that's what's kind of concerning me about Caitlin Clark is not so much the points, but she'll have games where she has low assists, low rebounds. It's just like, what happened? And I think with Tatum in this series, I think he's able
Justin,
to
it's because she's
contribute.
being assaulted
Oh my
every
god!
night by these thugs, these inner city hoodlums.
That's what they say in the comments. That's crazy.
Right? That was sarcasm for those that don't get it. Don't run with the headline. Don't put me in the montage with Stephen A. Smith and Emmanuel Acho.
Right. No, but he has been contributing in other ways. So it's good that he's able to kind of take that out of his mind in terms of the shots not falling, but contributing in other ways. He's such a versatile player. So
who's the MVP if the Celtics win? Is it going to be Brown?
That's what it's looking like. Who else can you pick? I mean,
it's been such a team kind of effort. Like you said, Porzingis had a game. Holiday had a game. Brown had the big game in game 3.
Yeah.
Tatum hasn't had a big scoring game, but he's been effective in other ways the whole series. But I think you probably have to give it to Brown. But it's to me, it's not quite cut and dry, JG, but I think Brown has the edge.
I think so too. That's why I talked to Matt, my co-host. Shout out to him. That's what we agreed on. I just think he's probably gonna win MVP, but we'll see. I mean, stranger things have happened, but it's looking like it's his for the taking. Unless we see Tatum, honestly, with this game here, I think Dallas is going to concede. So I don't think there's really anybody else that's going to rise up. I think it's kind of for Brown, and also he's talked about too him not getting the individual accolades. So I mean, this is another thing that will go up. He'll get the spotlight. So I know that's kind of been a thorn in his side in terms of kind of not getting that recognition. So good for Brown. I'd be shocked if he doesn't win MVP.
Well, and kind of piggybacking off of that, I know a lot of people have been saying, hey, one of these guys got to step up as to being like the leader, like the capital T. But if they are able to win this championship, they're showing that there doesn't need to be a guy that's the guy, that they can still do kind of like stepping up by committee, like Nate was just saying, where one guy can have a big night here, like Kristaps can have a big night here, Drew can have a big night here, Jalen can have a big night here, but there doesn't have to be one guy that puts it all upon their shoulders. Do you think that they can continue to have success without there being the guy that's like the superstar, like a Giannis or?
Yeah, I think so. I think that comes to coaching too. And I think it comes to really both guys buying in. I think look what happened with Golden State. I mean, granted, Kevin Durant was, I think,
that was a cheat code.
Yeah, it was. But at the same time, I mean, that was very tricky. We had previously a backcourt that was very tricky, splitting those shots up with Clay and Steph. Now you're adding Kevin Durant, and they're able to make it work. So I think with these two guys, I think they're able to find a balance there and really, work together to be the leadership of this team. I think the question is they won a title. I can see them going for another one where, egos, take place. I mean, what really does happen, moving forward in terms of, wanting a new scenery, a new challenge. Like I easily see that happening. I don't predict both these guys stay in Boston for the rest of their careers.
No.
Mm.
I think there's a couple things with that question, Ray. Number one, I feel like we are finally, and we've actually, if you want to be real about it, we've been out of this era for at least 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
We're out of the era of the super team. We're currently where I think we are, Justin. We are not in the league of in the era of the super team anymore. We're in the era of you need at least 2 guys.
Right.
And then if you got 2 guys, whether it's when you look at that Bucks team, Giannis and Middleton, and then you surround them with Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez and some other cats. When you look at the Lakers team that won in the bubble, you had LeBron and AD, and you surround them with guys that can fill their roles. When you look at the Celtics team, you got Tatum and Brown, and then you surround them with Kristaps and Al Horford and Peyton Pritchard's contribution, his 1 or 2 shots a game. I feel like we're in the era of if you got 2 guys who are like bona fide top 15, 20 guys in the league, you just need to find complementary pieces. With your Denver Nuggets, Justin, you had Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, and then you put in Aaron Gordon, you put in Michael Porter, you put in some of these other guys, so you don't need like a big 3. In the words of Kendrick Lamar, Ray Williams, motherfuck the big 3. It's the big we and them with us. It's the big all of us. But I think we're in an era where that's how teams are kind of being constructed now, where it's like you need 2 guys, at least like 1 max guy and a guy that's kind of close to max, and then guys that fill their roles. And I think that's what we're seeing right now.
No, I agree with you, and I think it's taken back to the 90s. I mean, look at NBA Jam. How many deals they were. So there was Stockton and Malone, Patrick Ewing, and John Starks. I mean, you can just go down the list of just great duos. I think we're hearkening to that time back in the 90s for sure. I feel you. I think I agree with that. It's a lot more duos. I think kind of the era of your big 3 is kind of dissipating at this point.
This game's been kind of flying by.
Yeah.
I'm glad because it's been terrible. So.
Yeah.
It's like if this was a 4-hour game, I would have left an hour ago.
I've just been kind of over this playoffs. So I don't know. It's been very non-competitive.
And these banners on ABC have the nerve to show it game 6 if necessary.
It ain't gonna be necessary. JJ Redick already booking his flight to LA. What are we talking about?
Right.
But I do want to kind of go off something that you just mentioned, Justin, when you were talking about you don't think both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are going to stay with Boston for the entirety of their careers. Who leaves first, brother? We know that Jaylen he's got the big contract extension already. Yeah. And we pretty much know. I mean, you can't keep them both because they're both going to be on I think what is Jaylen on a supermax right now?
I don't know. I have to check his contract details, but that might change.
That's a ridiculous
with the NBA TV
term,
deal.
by the way. Like I understand the concept of the supermax, JG, but it's like, come on, how you gonna be more maximum than maximum? Maximum in and of itself is the most you can be. Now we got the damn supermax.
We're gonna test that theory with these new TV deals.
Oh my goodness, we gonna get the super duper max.
Ultimate max.
Her predictions the next 10 years, you might see the first $1 billion player. So
that's crazy.
I know.
That sounds like a term that Vince McMahon would come up with. What's bigger than max? Super max.
Oh my goodness, that's true.
The super max champion of the world.
No, that's pretty accurate.
But I think that I don't know, man. I mean, if there was a time for them to part, it would have been prior to Jaylen Brown.
They're still young though, Ray. They're like both of them are still in their mid-20s.
It's true.
That's true.
So it's like, once you hit 30, Ray, you ain't got there yet, Ray. You still like 18, 19. You and Andrew still getting carded at the corner store. Once you hit 30, you might be like, you know what, man, it's cold up here. These fans, some of them might not be, kind of friendly, Justin.
Mm.
I'm tired of playing with this dude. I don't never get my credit. Where's my credit? You know,
give Peyton Pritchard more credit
right.
than
Peyton Pritchard got more love on these streets than me. You know what? I'm gonna take my talents to South Beach or to LA or to New York or wherever.
No, it's true. Honestly, I don't know who leaves first. I don't know. From my impression, this might be sacrilege, but I don't really get the sense that either of them. Maybe there's low-key and there's personalities, but either of them really are in love with Boston too much. I don't think they dislike playing there, but I don't think that connection to the city.
Right.
I mean, compared to talking about like Asia Wilson, like clearly there's a huge connection with her and the Aces, Las Vegas, but I just don't feel that with either of these guys.
Your
in
Aces,
Boston. Right? No.
If you want to switch teams right now, just let us know, Justin.
No, thanks.
Justin said, "Let's go Mystics.
Right.
Let's go Mystics."
Right.
Seattle Storm are getting
That's
hot now.
The Mystics is like, you know what? We gonna tank for Paige out here on these streets.
That's what it's looking like.
Ooh, I would love, man. I would go to every game if Paige came down there. That'd be awesome.
Then y'all can listen to some gospel music after the game.
Is Deladon still here?
Yo, yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, JG, because I saw somewhere that it's not that she's hurt. It's not that, she's on maternity leave or anything. It's more a contract dispute with the Mystics where it's like they ain't letting her go.
That's weird. Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
Free Elena Deladon.
That's crazy, and that's been underreported.
Like she doesn't want to be, at least from what I've read. And again, I take it with a grain of salt. But from what I've read is she asked to be traded. They said no. We still got you under contract for a year, and she was like, "Cool, I'm gonna go home then." She pulled a Scott Steiner and Kevin Nash in WCW. I'm gonna go home and collect my check then, dog.
Well, she plays in an unrivaled league. I think we know that she still has basketball aspirations because supposedly they're going to be offering bigger paychecks. So I think we'll see. I don't really have the details, but I think that'll be a huge hint.
Honestly, what I would do, and this is how crazy the W done gotten Ray Williams. I was at the job on my lunch break talking with somebody about the assault that we all watched as a nation on Sunday, and we were talking about the draft and some of these players coming up, and he was like, "Yo, like who you think gonna get Paige Beckers?" And in my mind, Justin, I'm like, "Yo, if I am the Mystics, what I would do," and again, I don't know the contract status of Elena Deladon, I would be like, "Yo, whoever," because the Mystics are gonna get a top 5 pick regardless, just because they're so terrible. But let's say they get like the bad luck and they get the 5th draft pick. And let's say the Fever or the Sky get the number 1 draft pick, however the ping pong balls land.
Oh man!
If I am the Mystics, I'm like, yo, we'll give you the number 5 pick and Elena Deladon right now, dog, for Paige Beckers, so we can just start fresh. Would you take that deal if you were the Mystic or the Sky or whoever, Ray?
If what happened now?
So say you got the number 1 pick, which everybody assumes is going to be Paige Beckers,
right?
If I'm the Mystics, and let's say you're the Sky or the Fever,
okay,
I come to you and I'm like, Ray, you got the number 1 pick, we got the number 4 or 5 pick. We'll trade you our pick for your pick, and we'll throw in Elena Deladon. We just want Paige Beckers.
I think it would depend on the team, because I think if I was the Fever, then I would do that in a heartbeat, because I think we need solid veterans on our team to kind of be better leaders. If I was the Sky, though, I would kind of have to see how the fit would work with Elena Deladon, since we already have ladies.
Well, I mean, that would be a hell of a front court, though. Like if Elena Deladon is your 3, and you've got Angel at the 4 and Camilla at the 5, oh my goodness, like that's a lot of size.
No,
but then you could say the same thing with my girl from South Carolina who plays with
Aaliyah.
Yeah, Aaliyah Boston and Adela Dawn in Indiana. That would be
and the thing with Elena is she can stretch the floor, unlike Aaliyah or Angel Reese or Camilla Cardoso.
That's true.
It's true.
Speaking of Camila
Yeah.
Cardoso,
Oh, you,
Ray,
What
you know I love me some Chicago Sky. Camila
Mhm.
Cardoso, though, I worry sometimes about my rook here on these streets, Justin, because I don't know if you follow, and I think Brianna
Your
Turner
Alba
made it.
Fire, your
Yeah,
Alba Fire,
No, she's my Isla Dawn on these streets. She
Isla
crazy.
Dawn, yeah.
Like Brianna Turner made a joke tonight. She was like, I don't know if this is a fact or not, but I bet you if I go on IG right now, Camilla's doing a live. Because Camila Cardoso, when she ain't playing or practicing, she stay on
Ooh,
Instagram. And I feel like, and again, take this with a grain of salt, Justin. I feel like I need somebody to have supervision over my niece Camila Cardoso, because she just be bored. Like she just be bored. The other day, I was telling Ray and the guys last night on the NWA podcast over at Post Wrestling. She went on live. She's like, "Hey guys, want to see my new tattoo?" And I'm thinking she gonna show us a tattoo. JG, she pulls out a needle and starts tattooing a heart on her own wrist. And she's like, "I got it kind of crooked, but it's pretty." And I'm like, Camilla, you just got off of the injured list. You could get yourself a staph infection. You could hit an artery or something. What are you doing? Somebody, Dawn Staley, protect this girl.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
They need to put that like NBA be putting, hey, in the contracts.
Right.
Don't be getting on motorcycles. They was putting in her contract. Don't be tattooing yourself.
Yeah. I love her energy though. Like I think her and when they first got drafted together, I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I think her and Angel kind of feed off each other.
They do. I like them together.
Yeah,
me too. I think she has a huge upside. I really like Cardozo. I think Angel Reese. I think she's a really good player, but I think Cardozo can be.
Don't come on this show bad mouthing my rookie of the year, Angel Reese on these streets, JG.
Hey, no shade on Angel. No shade.
She may be a thug, but she my thug, JG. But no, I think what's crazy about Angel is if this version of Angel Reese, like let's say that this is her ceiling. I think she's a great like Dennis Rodman-esque player.
Agree.
Like she's gonna crash the board. She's gonna give you defense. She's not afraid to mix it up with the vets. She's not great right now in terms of being an efficient scorer. But like I like what Angel brings to the table. And then when you add that to Camilla, like I think Camilla is like Camilla a little scrappy too.
Yeah.
And she's got I think the two of them work really well together. But then the other piece that I really like, and I think they just got to kind of figure out everything else. But Camilla, Angel, and Kennedy Carter, I like the three of them together a lot. I don't know what the hell Marina Mabry doing right now. I love Diamond DeShields, but it feel like Diamond DeShields be in and out sometimes. Dana Evans, I love me some Dana Evans, but it feels like they don't have a true point.
Yeah,
like they need a true point.
No, it's true. And I know it seems like Teresa Weatherspoon, I feel that she is like super frustrated. But at the same time, you got like two rookies. I mean, it's a growing process.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
they were a bad team last year, so it's like it's gonna take time.
It is. No, it's true.
Look at that. That's how you talk about the WNBA, Stephen A. Smith. That's how you do it, Stephen A. Put the score on the screen, Ray. Let the people see what we coming up. This feels like Dick Clark's New Year's Eve. Ray forgot to dress up for the occasion.
My bad, Dick Clark. My bad, Ryan. Not Ryan Gosling, but your boy,
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Seacrest,
Zack Sabre Jr.
No, shut up.
Will Ospreay. Which one is it, Ray?
Ryan Seacrest. Ryan Seacrest.
Even Wei Ting was on these streets. He's like, hey guys, skip to Ray talking about Zack Sabre Jr. It's the best part of the show.
Bro,
I think Wade was just happy we didn't go like 6 hours last night.
Yeah, and see, maybe I can replace Chuck because I know how to laugh at myself. I know how to take a joke. Yo. Put me in Chuck's seat. I could go along.
Ray said, if I've been doing being called BBL Ray on international television, I can do anything.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, did we talk about the beef? I think we talked about Euphoria when you were on last time, Justin. Have we talked about like the end of the beef with Not Like Us?
I don't think so.
What did you make of the way that beef kind of finished off? Like, so when we left it, when we talked to you like a month or so ago,
Yeah.
it was right after Kendrick had dropped Euphoria.
Mhm.
And then Kendrick dropped 616 and 616 in LA. Then Drake came back with Family Matters because he was really, really trying to keep it PG. And then Kendrick hit him with Meet the Grams and Not Like Us back to back. And then Drake came out with The Heart Part 6. And he was just like, this was good exercise,
Right.
What did you make of how the beef unfolded, Justin?
I'm not surprised. I mean, Kendrick is a hardcore lyricist. Saw a cool there's a couple of videos that kind of did some animations too. Not Like Us, but those are pretty cool. But I'm not surprised. It was kind of like
here's how
the
crazy
boxing
it is,
match.
There's a medieval I guess they call it bardcore.
Oh yeah.
Like verse where they keep Kendrick's vocals and then they just put like medieval instruments
awesome.
underneath it, and it still hits.
Yeah. No, I'm not surprised. I mean, if it was, I would say a boxing match, but you get Drake, 2 rounds maybe. I mean, it's a pretty lopsided, unanimous decision. You're dealing with this a master lyricist with Kendrick, so I'm not surprised Drake got schooled, and I don't know what he was really thinking. Going up against Kendrick, it was good for hip hop. I think it's kind of one of the most, I would say, brighter spots for the genre. Considering what's happened within the past year with some other nefarious things. But nevertheless, I don't think it was that competitive like you were saying.
Yeah, Drake pushed the red button, and it was like the end of Avengers Endgame when Thanos thought he won and he snapped, but then you cut to Kendrick Lamar with the Tony Stark glove.
Yeah, no, it's true.
But instead of dying, he lived to tell the tale and disappear into the ether because he's the boogeyman.
No.
Certified boogeyman, Ray. He went to school for being a boogeyman.
Okay.
That song is just so
yeah.
Like when I saw a video the other day, Justin, with little kids at a birthday party somewhere. It was funny for me because they ain't my kids, but it's like, parents, what are y'all doing? That ain't the song to play for your little preteen. These kids, like 7, 8, 9 years old, screaming at the top of their lungs, rapping word for word to Not Like Us. I lost it, Justin, when you had a room full of kids talking about, say, Drake, we hear you like I'm young. Like,
No.
like Negro, you young.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness. No, I think there was a restaurant, I think in California or somewhere, like they redesigned their menu around Not Like Us.
That's
like all
crazy.
their menu, and then they're just playing the song outside the restaurant. So yeah, it's heading in a new way, that's for sure.
Like, let me get that John Stockton plate to go.
Right.
with a side of sweet chin music.
No, it's true.
And because of that, Sexy Red ended up on NXT.
Oh my goodness.
HBK was like, wait a minute. He said my move in the song. Let me listen to more of Kendrick's catalog. Well, who is this Sexy Red? She must be a bad bitch. And Sexy Red shows up at NXT, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, no,
That's
totally
crazy.
agree.
And then she's out there doggone twerking with your girl Lola
Jordan
Vice.
Grace. Was it Jordan Grace? No, I'm thinking of the skit they did with like they were cooking in the kitchen and HBK was like wearing the chef outfit.
Michaels. Mm-hmm. But I think it was on Battleground. I think she was twerking with Lola Vice, and from Justin might know is Valerie Lareda, former MMA fighter from Bellator. But,
now she's done really well. I think she's gonna go to the main roster pretty soon. I don't think she's gonna be.
Yeah, I think she's found her character now, and how if they put her over Shayna Baszler, then they must think pretty highly of her.
Yeah, no, totally agree.
I got a legitimate question for you, Justin. A hard-hitting question for our NBA expert here. If the Boston Celtics do indeed close this out, does that mean Subway is obligated to bring back the bacon Tatum sandwich?
Oh my god!
Because that joint used to hit.
Never had it.
It was like it was okay. Here's the thing. It was a clever name, But really, it was just like the Subway Club with like 4 extra pieces of bacon on it and like
gotcha.
a new kind of garlic aioli spread. But it was basically just a regular ass sandwich with bacon and garlic on it.
Probably. No, I think seems like
Is
it.
Luka
Look
hurt?
like Luka's hurt. Yeah,
Yes, it looked like both Jalen and Luca slipped,
like on the
and
court.
then Luca
Yeah.
was favoring like his shin.
Oh damn! They slipped it like
Yeah.
2 separate spots on the court.
Yeah.
Damn.
What is with Luka and his knees bleeding like every game? Like,
That was like shades of Clash
He's
at the
all right.
Castle.
Well, you know the man always diving and trying to get the
That's
foul
true.
call.
I hope that's the case. I'm like,
Tatum's got 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 11 assists.
okay, that's a really good game.
You
There's
know that?
there's a slight chance he might steal his damn MVP
Possibly.
Yeah.
award. I think
You
that's the
asking-
most compelling thing about the final game right now.
Probably. That was true.
Yeah. You're asking for that big scoring night from Tatum, Nate. Yeah, it looks
That's
like you're
true.
getting it.
Jason Tatum said, sometimes you got to pop out and show naysayers.
Naysayers.
Certified bacon man. I actually broke up the Celtics on one of my NBA 2K, my GMs. I was the Sacramento Kings. And I traded Sabonis. I traded Sabonis,
Mm.
and I think this might have been when Halliburton was still on the team. So I kept Halliburton. I traded Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. That's like a trade that would never be allowed in the NBA. I traded Sabonis and De'Aaron to the Celtics for Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart. So my team was Halliburton, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Marvin Bagley III.
Nice.
And we was all right. We made it to the conference finals and got beat by LeBron.
Ah, jeez.
Story of some teams' lives.
Right.
Yes. We get beat by LeBron.
Have you played the NBA 2K My Eras, JG?
I don't think so. I get them, and then I play some of the exhibition modes. I mean, I haven't played 2K like hardcore since
Ooh.
NBA 2K11, the
Yeah.
Jordan edition. Like,
So the
But,
My Eras is basically like the Jordan edition, just gone insane. Because they've got like the Magic versus Bird era, they've got the Jordan era, the Kobe era, the LeBron era, and the modern era. And so it's basically as close to historically accurate as they can get, because there's some players like Barkley and Reggie
that's
Miller
right.
that's like not in the game. But like you basically play through the history of the NBA, and you can make it
That's
as
cool.
close to realistic as possible as what happened in history. Or you
Mhm.
can just go crazy. Like I traded Michael Jordan to the Charlotte Hornets, and the Charlotte Hornets became a dynasty.
That's awesome. No, that's really cool. I missed the college basketball game because then you can kind of work players, from college into 2K. So hopefully with the, with
I was
the
gonna say we got college
game.
football coming back.
Yeah,
Maybe
could
college
come back.
basketball is next.
That's true. I love
Probably.
that game. Yeah.
Yeah, college. I'm excited for the EA Sports college
too.
football game, man.
I like it better than Madden.
Yeah,
Played it way better. Played it way more than Madden. So we'll
I
see.
just
Yeah, I
love
think-
taking like. Here's the thing, Ray. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Like, I feel like Deion Sanders in some aspects, because I always take like a HBCU
Me too.
and build them up, and then I leave. So it's like I leave the SWAC to go to like the ACC, and it's like, yeah, we made it, but we didn't bring our people along with us.
Right.
They like, you sold out. I'm like, hey, I had to do what I had to do for my school.
Right. No, it's true.
Or be all the way like Coach Prime. God told me to come down here.
Right.
It wasn't me. It wasn't for the guaranteed $20 million over 3 years. God told me.
Right.
Damn, this is depressing if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan.
Oh, agreed.
It'll be all right.
I mean, to be fair, like Dallas, like there are some cities where you can tell like it's winter bust. Dallas is not that kind of city. Like I feel like they're still
No.
kind of happy about the title they got off of the Heat that year.
Exactly.
No.
It's like in terms of basketball, yeah, they don't really care.
Yeah, Cowboys, that's a different story.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Maybe the Dallas Wings can win the WNBA title and make it up for them.
Right.
See if
No.
Enrique can will them to a championship.
No, she's awesome. Yeah.
She is.
Someone
Yeah.
She's an incredible scorer.
and someone you can legitimately say got snubbed from the Olympic team.
What are you insinuating, Ray Williams?
Hey, I know you're trying to bring back the hashtag Dark for Clark movement name, but we
I just want
I
my
know
Olympic
there is-
team to have some class, Ray. I just want some class on this Olympic team that's full of thugs and miscreants and Diana Taurasi.
Oh my God.
I love me some Diana Taurasi.
She
Like
a
she's,
thug too.
yo, if we're being real, everybody that's calling Angel Reese and some of these other players thug, like Diana Taurasi been the biggest thug for the last decade in the WNBA. And I love it. Diana Taurasi told a referee to pull up in the lobby during the wobble and fight her after a bad call. Diana
Yeah,
Taurasi like got in an opponent's face and kissed her on the cheek in a fight.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah, she has no F's to give, especially as old as she is now. She's like, I
No,
really
it's true.
can't.
Mm.
She's still balling though. Like she's still good.
Yeah, she's been really solid this season. I was really talking about that as well. Just
Like she's not what she
Yeah.
once was, but she's still
No.
a solid player.
agreed.
And the Mercury are doing better than I thought they would be this season.
Well, Brittany
Mm.
Griner is just killing it. Like,
Yeah, Brittany
honestly,
Griner
she
and,
stays.
who else is it? Kalia Copper.
Yeah.
Leah Copper, yeah.
She had like a couple 20-point games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It looks like they're pulling Kyrie out of the game.
That's a wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's hugging everybody on
Yeah.
the Celtics bench.
Kyrie is like, trade for me next year, y'all. I'll come back. It's tampering. You're tampering, brother.
Nah, they like fool me once, shame on you. We won't get fooled again.
There's an old saying in Texas. It's in Tennessee too.
It's like we've been through them problems before.
Man, this is depressing.
Agreed.
Yeah, I just kept saying in my
Uh-oh.
head, I'm rooting
The
for
Wyatt
the
Six.
Celtics.
The Wyatt
Yeah.
Six are
Are they
here.
out there?
They're up. They're up.
Finally. Jeez.
I might just turn the channel.
put the score up at least, Ray. Put the score up while you
I'll
turn the
keep the
channel.
score up. Yeah.
Just turn it.
No.
Now we're welcome to the WWE Monday Night Raw live watch. Shout out to everybody watching. 152 people.
They're using
154 people watching.
it's the same entrance.
Yeah.
It is. Uh-oh. Is this your girl white chocolate
The white
cheesecake?
chocolate cheesecake. A sports entertainment.
Looking like your girl from The Grudge.
Right.
I hope this succeeds.
Hope so too. I'm very pessimistic, but hopefully proven wrong.
Anybody watching the Wyatt Six debut, say something in the chat. Let us know what your opinions are so far.
Oh, Myron Kidd had a comment about Kyrie.
Kyrie sold on this one, thought it was personal between him and Boston. Guess it wasn't. You know, hey, he's just doing business, brother. You got to get butts in seats. It's all a work, brother. Like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark were slapping high fives and drinking Michelob Ultra after the game. Like, good job, girl. I like how you hit me like that. Girl, you sold it like a champ, though. That's not how they talk.
Wow. Looks like they
Ooh.
basically killed everybody in the backstage area.
That Eric
Pretty
Rowan in the building.
Yeah.
I was
With
like,
the
what?
bludgeon hammer.
What? That's the thing with deaths and wrestling. Like there's people that's come back in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Come back to
I'm old enough to remember when Vince McMahon blew up in a car one week.
life. Me too.
Oh, that must be Dexter Loomis.
Okay.
This looks like a really cool haunted house. Like, oh, Chad Gable. Guess he's dead too. All right.
Oh, jeez.
That resolves that storyline.
Yeah, I gotta. I thought it got re-signed. Here you go, your boy Howdy.
Mm.
Dang, you look like you took a gunshot though.
Right.
And shooting people. That's not scary.
I guess they are getting more realistic.
And right, no mysticism in that.
We don't use mysticism. We use machinery, as
Right.
Chris would say.
Apparently.
A famous line by Jay-Z. I got a 4.5, and it's not to play games with you, but to aim at you. Yeah, I really wonder what they're gonna do with this stuff.
Yeah, me
Like you
too.
said, now that they murdering people in the backstage,
Right.
like, how do you follow this?
It's a wonderful magic trick. The only problem is you can only do it once.
It's true.
Mhm. And then it's like they're not playing the whole song; they're just playing the piano intro.
They got inspired by Meet the Grams.
So it's supposed to be 6 of them. There's
Yeah, apparently it's supposed to be 6 of them. I think they said it was
So
Bo
no
Dallas,
Alexa,
Eric Rowan, Joe
Mhm.
Gacy, Dexter Loomis, your girl, White
Nikki
Chocolate Cheesecake and Sports Entertainment.
wow.
So that's only 5. So I don't know, because I thought Alexa was going to be part of this, but they said she wasn't. At least the names that were announced.
I
That's
thought,
it.
yeah.
There's
And we have a
Celtics.
final.
Yeah.
The Boston Celtics are your 2024 NBA World Champions. Do we call them world? We'll call them
mean,
World
Guess so.
Champions.
Yeah.
They are the world champions.
They gotta play the EuroLeague winner. That's that.
Right?
Peyton Pritchard, the MVP. Chris is somewhere just throwing stuff at the TV.
I'm telling you, he's like Cuba Gooding from Boys in the Hood.
So that was it. That was the
Yeah.
Wyatt 6. Okay. What was that? What was that? Titus O'Neil just like, huh?
Right.
Man, I turned from the NBA Finals for this.
Right. I guess if there's one
Turned
positive,
back to a blowout.
if there was one positive, JG, it's that like they only gave us a taste.
That's true.
So
It looked cool. I
Mm.
mean, I
it
don't
looked visually, it looked cool. But yeah, we still don't know like what the hell is going on with the Wyatt 6, the Wyatt 5.
know. Are they gonna wrestle or just kill people?
I mean, like if they kill enough people, there won't be anybody to wrestle
that's true.
except themselves.
Yeah, right.
That is true.
It's like Major Payne, like killing is my business and business is good. Like Major, you've killed everyone. There's no
Right.
one left to kill. That was weird,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it was a good weird.
No, right. Agree.
But like I said, at least they're getting TV time.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Tatum,
Mm.
anything is possible.
So now I guess we could kind of start thinking about the draft too. I mean, I don't think there are any big names in the draft coming out.
Out of all the years for the Hawks to get the #1 draft pick, although they say I guess there's another French player that's not as good as Wemby, but he's still pretty decent.
I heard. I think it was another French
Is it like
player,
Alexi or Alex or something?
I think so. Yeah.
And then it's like this player from Australia who played in I guess because now Carmelo is the owner within like a different league. I forgot what the name WBL or something.
Yeah, in Australia. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess he crossed paths with this player and says that this particular player is going to be decent. But yeah,
actually, the Hawks need to draft with the #1 draft pick, Bronny James. Bronny James with his dad. Bring his daddy too.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, real quick before we wrap things up tonight, Justin, where do you think, because eventually everything comes back around to LeBron in the NBA?
Sure. Yeah.
Where do you think LeBron ends up? Is it more likely that he and Bronny end up in LA together, or is it more likely that LeBron stays in LA, Bronny's on another team, or is it more likely that Bronny and LeBron are on a team that is not the Lakers next season?
I would say the third option. I would doubt that. I think if I'm putting my money on it, I would say they just draft Bronny as a favorite to the Lakers, and they're just on LA together. I could see them on different teams. That wouldn't surprise me. And then I don't know what his rookie deal is, but
allegedly he only worked out for the Suns and the Lakers, right?
Yeah. So I don't see them. I don't see like LeBron just leaving LA just to play with his son somewhere else. So to me, I honestly,
the only place I could see that happening, if it did happen, and I agree, JG, I think it's a long shot. The only place I could see that happening would be Cleveland.
Yeah.
If they both went, like Cleveland's favorite son and Cleveland's favorite grandson.
True. That's true. I can see that happening too.
Plus Cleveland's like low key. If LeBron wants to win another ring, Cleveland's not a bad spot in the East because you got him.
That is true.
You have Allen, Garland.
Yeah.
Like that'd be a pretty good team.
True. I just think he loves LA though. So I don't see him.
Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. I know they've been having some issues too with Mitchell in terms of what's going to happen with him. So
like contract wise?
I think so. Yeah.
So you thinking LeBron and Bronny end up in LA next season?
I think so. Yeah.
Coached by JJ Redick, who is getting on the plane as we speak.
Right.
He ain't even doing the post game. He like, all right, Doris, I'll see you later.
Pretty much.
Good working with you. Just like Doc Rivers is like, oh, I got to go.
And then Doris is like, what am I supposed to do now? And then interstage left. Here comes Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy. Well. Look who comes crawling back. Mama, there goes that man.
There come the riots. They're rioting outside of the arena in Boston.
I'm glad I'm not there.
They're uproariously celebrating. Justin, what are you talking about?
Is your pop still in Boston?
Nah, he's in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because they and this is the craziest thing to me, Justin, because we know the makeup of a lot of Boston.
Yeah.
And the makeup of a lot of people that's going to be acting crazy and acting a fool tonight.
That's true.
But they have the nerve, Justin, to say that people that look like us are the problem. I done seen hockey riots in Vancouver. I ain't seen nobody look like PK Subban wasn't up there. Trying to think of some more black hockey players.
Right. That's the only one that comes to mind.
I remember there used to be
Anson Carter wasn't up there. I got two.
Yeah. There used to be a goon in that played for the Capitals about a decade ago, Donald Brashear.
Yeah, I remember Donald Brashear.
Right. I forgot. Yeah, that's true.
I think there's like a black goalie that was like really good, and I'm blanking on his name. Marcus would know if Marcus were here.
Yeah, be a perfect time to ask the hockey Negro.
But yeah, Justin. What time are we at on the East Coast? We're right at 11.
11,
Right
and just after 11.
All right, so we'll wrap up here in the next 10 minutes or so. If anybody has any last minute questions or comments, hit us up in the chat. Again, like we're over 150 some people watching right now. We appreciate y'all for spending some of your evening with us. Let's see. Real quick before we let JG and Ray have their final thoughts, let's get some plugs out of the way, Ray. Let's get some plugs out of the way. First of all, this is a presentation of the Kings of Sport Network. If you would like to support the Kings of Sport Network and keep us going and allow me to dress up in these fineries from time to time, hit up the Patreon, patreon.com/Ray, the Kings of Sport. Justin, is it backslash or forward slash? How do you say it?
I think backslash.
Thank you, Justin. Justin is 2
There
for
you
2.
go, outvoting me again. Got it. Okay.
Justin is 2 for
2
2.
backslash. Okay.
Because here's the thing, Ray. The reason I say it's backslash is because the way I look at it, like I'm looking at the slash, right? And this is maybe the patriarchy seeping into my brain. I look at the slash like a person. And so, like, if it looks like he's leaning in, like with his pelvis, like, hey. Like, so I'm thinking that's like a backslash. If he was leaning out the other way, to me, that's like more of a forward slash. So it just depends on how you look at it, Ray.
Okay.
So yeah, the patreon.com backslash, as Justin Goodrum has said, the Kings of Sport. $5 gets you in the door. If you want to pay more, we won't stop you. Here's the thing I'm thinking about though, Ray. Because I'm thinking eventually, because, you know, when I first came up with the idea, Marcus and I, for the Patreon, we had all these tiers with all these rewards. And if we're being real about it, after about the first year of the Patreon, them rewards kind of dwindled away. So I think what we might end up doing before the end of the year is just doing 2 levels, right? Like, well, not 2 levels, but 1 level of patron where it's just $5. $5
Right.
get you in, and then having, like, because I've seen some Patreon pages have a tip jar. But like, if you want to throw us a little extra in addition to your $5, you can. If not, it's not an obligation. But I think eventually, sometime this year, and I'll talk to Chris about it, we might just make it $5 across the board. We proposing a flat tax on these streets.
That makes sense.
Just because, like, again, like. We got like a $99 level. I think we got 1 patron on the $99 level. No, it's not 99. It's not 99. It's so it's right now it's $5, $9.99, and I think it's like $50. So we got 1 patron at the $50 level, but it's like they ain't really getting none of the benefits because ain't nobody got time to be doing all these benefits. We work 50 some hours a week, Justin. Ain't nobody got time for all these extra. I don't have time to send you a personalized voicemail or nothing like that.
Oh, that was one of the additional.
So I think one of the perks is like you get to be a producer and like you choose the topics, choose the music, stuff like that. I think one of the perks was you get to like a voice message from us. Like we ain't got time to be doing none of that. So we're just gonna probably by the end of the year make it just straight $5 for the Patreon. But join us on the Patreon. We've got a bunch of shows. Like a lot of our newer shows, what we're doing is putting the first 15 minutes up for free, Justin. And then the remainder of the episode you can hear exclusively on the Patreon.
Oh, cool.
Because as Ray will tell you, the game is to be sold and not told. But yeah, we really appreciate it. Like the more people that sign up for the Patreon helps us do more things, do more shows, like do more stuff with Post Wrestling. Because sometimes in America, you have to buy your freedom back. Dollar by dollar, and the more dollars we have, the less hours we have to spend at the shoot job, and the more time we can spend with you, the customer. But also Twitter and TikTok. Y'all want to see Ray out here do these TikTok dances? Y'all want to see Ray do these TikTok dances? Y'all want to see Ray out here tattooing himself like Camila Cardoso? At Cospod, KOS_POD at TikTok and Twitter. Chris is really pushing the TikTok right now, so please sign up for the Twitter so Chris don't the TikTok so Chris don't yell at Ray no more. I feel like Chris put Ray on Front Street last night on the podcast, and you know I ain't appreciate that. So please sign up to the TikTok so Ray won't have to get called into the professor's office. Finally, subscribe to the YouTube. You're watching us now on YouTube. Most of you are. Subscribe, hit that subscribe button, man. Hit the subscribe button because we are trying to get to a point where we can start monetizing our videos, where we can start, making that hoopsology money. We trying to be like Justin on these streets, man. Y'all see, the first time I met Justin, I saw the Hoopsology studio. It wasn't even called Hoopsology at the time. I think it was just called JG's Basketball Show. It just was like a generic can that said JG Basketball Show. Justin started on the streets. Justin started from the bottom. Now he here with the luxurious Hoopsology studio. We trying to get like that. We trying to get like our brother Justin on these streets.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, like any thing additionally that y'all can do to support the show, man, because we it's not just me, Ray, and Chris and Andrew. It's also people like Chinyere Okafor. It's people like Jennifer Smith, Brittany Monet, Steve Willie, Vanessa Shark. Like, we trying to build something here, and much like the Boston Celtics, Ray. It takes time, but if you keep working hard and you keep the right people around you, and you put the right money in and invest the money, you can come home with a championship ring, Ray Williams. But I'm gonna kick it over to our guest of honor, JG Justin Goodrum. Always good to chop it up with you, brother. Definitely want to get more conversations with you as we get close to the draft. Maybe WNBA season, Olympic basketball, like that might be something fun to talk about. But let the people know about Hoopsology, what you got going on, and recent episodes that may have come out or are about to come out.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. Much appreciated. Always just loves just kicking it with you guys. Right now, Hoopsology, we got a podcast with J. Alphonse Nicholson. He's an actor in the FX series Clipped. So check that out. It's on Hulu right now. Our podcast episode. He plays Chris Paul. So check that out. We have like a huge library of like
Clipped is a crazy show, dog. I watched the first couple episodes. It is random. Like, I told Ray, my favorite random thing about Clipped is the scene in episode 1, I think, when Doc Rivers goes to the sauna because he's frustrated about Donald Sterling. And LeVar Burton is just there for some reason.
Yeah. No.
And it's like not even LeVar Burton trying to look like LeVar Burton looked 10 years ago or however long ago this was. But it's like LeVar Burton now. Like, he didn't even try to dye the beard or nothing. He was just like, he's like, this is what you gonna get, dog.
That's true.
Jaylen Brown.
Did he win MVP?
Awarded Finals MVP.
Okay. All right. I'm not too surprised about that. But yeah, check that interview out. I think he talks about just behind the scenes of Clipped, a very interesting show. We talked to Dante Hammer Harrison. He's a Harlem Globetrotter. Check that out. He jumped out of a plane just to complete a Guinness Book of Record for the longest dunk. I mean, he's done some crazy stuff. So check that out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we talked to Scoop Jackson. That was a really great interview. He wrote a book about George Gervin. So check that out. We just been just chopping up with a lot of just great people about the game of basketball. Of course, my partner and I, Matt Thomas, we talk about just the latest conversations going down in the W and in NBA. In the lab, that usually happens mostly every week. We've talked to a few WNBA insiders, so stay tuned for that. We're gonna have some draft coverage and maybe some Olympic coverage. I don't want to jinx it, but if everything goes right, I might have somebody who's been involved in the Olympics and a profile interview that's coming up in July. So stay tuned for that. A lot of cool things coming up in the summer, despite the NBA season coming to its conclusion. So appreciate the invite, Nate and Ray, as always.
Awesome. Thank you for making time, JG. For those of you that don't know, man, Justin is a good dude, man. He's had me on the show a couple times. But yeah, like Hoopsology, excellent podcast. I'm always impressed by not only the conversations that you guys have, but the guests that you bring on to the show. And stay tuned, because I'm sure on the next episode of Hoopsology, they'll do a deep dive on why there needs to be a congressional hearing about what Angel Reese is doing on these streets, because it's not American.
Right.
What this young lady is doing. Ray, anything you want to promote before we get out of here?
Not much. I think you pretty much gave the bulk of everything for us here at the Kings of Sport Network.
Shout out your other boss, Dickie Bird.
Yeah, Dickie Bird. Chop-tees.com. Chop-tees.com. You can get all this wonderful merch. Even though we need to get that tuxedo, maybe get a tuxedo shirt, maybe with our brand on it. I don't know. It's looking good on you, Nate. I don't know.
Get a purple tux.
But yeah, besides everything with chop-tees.com and Kings of Sport Patreon, KOS_POD, X and Twitter, or X and TikTok rather. Everything that the Godfather just eloquently mentioned. On the Kings of Sport feed, you can find the Spinning Black Fist, and we just recently recorded an episode over the weekend. We were talking about UFC 303. Justin, we can't get enough of that Conor McGregor talk, man.
Oh
And
boy.
so we
Wow.
go into his fateful decision or fateful injury that caused him to get
Al
pulled out.
Horford. They just put up a stat. Al Horford just tied the NBA record for the third most seasons before winning a title at 17 seasons.
Wow.
Wow.
Good for him.
Former Hawk Al Horford.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's a good streak to break, I guess. You never want to be that guy the longest to not have done something. So.
You're right.
But yeah, you get we're going to have an episode coming up this week talking about UFC 303, all of the changes going on, not just with Conor dropping out, but also with the main event. There was a light heavyweight fight that was changed about 3 different times. One due to a fighter testing positive for performance enhancing drugs, another due to a fighter getting an injury, and now we have a rematch for the light heavyweight championship, which is going to fill the shoes, the very, very large shoes of the Billy Strutter himself, Conor McGregor. So we get into more details about that, along with some other stuff that's going on in the world of mixed martial arts. So keep your ears open for that one, as long as you have the Kings of Sport. You're subscribed to the Kings of Sport wherever you listen to podcasts.
Good
But
stuff,
yeah,
Ray.
and personally, you can find me on X and on Instagram at Mondo Dondo 1.
Good job, Ray Williams. A salute to Ray for setting up not only the stream tonight, but the stream on Friday. I believe Friday night we peaked at like maybe 75 viewers. And tonight, Ray Williams. I was gonna say Ray, but really it's Justin. Justin brought the audience. we up to 164 viewers
Nice.
tonight
Thank
for our
you.
second ever live stream. We may or may not have a live stream on Sunday. Who knows? When we get Aces, when we get Fever Sky Part 3 in less than 2 weeks.
Hashtag Skyline.
Yeah, that's my name for Cardosa and Reese. Some people call them the Twin Towers. I don't like that. Some people call them AK-15, which like let's not connote gun violence with Chicago. The best name I saw that wasn't mine, Justin, was the Skyscrapers. I kind of dig that.
That's not bad. Yeah.
But I've been going with the Skyline, and a couple people on Chicago Sky Twitter have been rocking with that.
Okay. I feel that. Yeah. I think that's the best one.
You know, that's why you always welcome here, Justin. You always welcome. This brother, you can learn a lot, Ray Williams. You can learn a lot from this man, Justin Goodrum, on these streets, brother.
Indeed.
Keep on, you gonna end up like the Wired Six up in this piece. What the hell was that, Ray? Why did we switch the channel for that?
I know.
Why did we? That's 2 minutes of our lives we will never get back. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm gonna kick it to Ray because this is Ray's thing, but I'm just gonna say my last little piece again. Thank you to Justin. We definitely gonna talk to Justin down the road. I'm about to get I was gonna say my Porzingis, but really I'll get my Luka on. Have me a little celebrate because Luka gonna be drinking whether they win or lose.
That's true.
There's one thing
Michael
Luka
Finley.
gonna do. Well, yeah, where's Michael Finley to take the
Watch
beer
out
away?
for Michael Finley.
Hey, nah, I got this, Mike. I got this, dog. But yeah, well, salute to the Boston Celtics. Your new NBA champions. Chris is gonna be all right. I'm excited. This season was a fun season, but next year is gonna have even more intrigue, and we're gonna talk about it. So Thanks to everybody that watched tonight. Appreciate all the support. Keep supporting, man. If you are already a member of the Patreon, if you already subscribe to all of our feeds, let your friends know what we're doing here at the Kings of Sport Network. We really appreciate it. Boston, y'all be safe tonight. Have fun, but don't have too much fun.
Mm-hmm.
You hoodlums.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and close it on out. Once again, we thank the good brother Justin Goodrum for joining us. Go ahead, follow him at all his platforms. We thank the Godfather Nate Milton for everything that he does here at the Kings of Sport, and thank you for the opportunity for me to try out new ideas and throw some new ideas to the wall to see what sticks. So thank you, brother. Thank Chris who couldn't make it, but again, we already know his plight right now, but we thank you, brother.
You know, Chris is just like, damn it, we finally tied him. Now we got to go through this all over again. Bronny, get in the gym, Bronny. Get in the gym.
I think he said on Friday, he was like, we couldn't even have 5 years. And of course,
the way the Celtics team looking, if they re-sign KP and Holiday and some of these other pieces, this might not be a one-time thing.
Might not. We'll see what happens. Like we're talking about, still the parity in the league. Anything can happen within the next year or so, but that's the intrigue that the Godfather was just speaking of. And there's always next year. We'll be tuning in and we'll be keeping you guys along with the ride. But you can follow the Kings of Sport year round. We don't just end after basketball season. We don't just end after football season. We cover everything, including us being a WNBA podcast.
That's right.
Keep that
we sending Ray to Paris to cover the Olympics.
Yeah.
Paris, Texas. You're gonna watch it on TV and then report.
Right.
We'll do.
Now, if more of y'all sign up to the Patreon, maybe we can get Ray to France.
Maybe. We'll see. Get my passport ready. But, and of course, we want to thank the invisible hand himself, who's hanging out with Mickey as we speak, brother Marcus Vanderberg. Thank you for all you do as well, brother, behind the scenes. But with that, thank you all for tuning in. We hope that you join us again on either the next installment that we have of the live stream or live watch along, or whenever we come back with any episode from any of their podcasts that we're going to have coming up. Just stay tuned, guys. And like Nate said, go ahead, like, subscribe, hit that bell to get the notification whenever we have an episode going live or whenever we have an episode premiering. So with that, on behalf of the Godfather himself, Nate Milton, and Justin Goodrum, my name is Two-Way Ray Williams. We thank you. God bless you. God keep you. And until next time, peace out. Hit the button, right? Thank you for tuning in to a special presentation of the Kings of Sport Network. Always be down with the Kings on X and TikTok at KOS_POD and through patreon.com/the Kings of Sport. Thanks again for watching.